Hey, welcome, friends. Glad to have you aboard. It's Sunday, and it's not just Sunday, it's the fifth Sunday of the month, and we have a policy here for this particular game that we play on the second, fourth, and fifth Sundays of the month. So, yeah, thanks for coming by. Lord Gazumba, thanks for the lurk. Hey, Wilson, Dave, good to see you. Thanks for joining us. Let's go around the overlay and meet our players. We'll start with Blarg the Magnificent. Blarg, tell us a little bit about Blarg.
Hey everybody, I'm Chris, WikiVA on Discord and Twitch. I play Blarg, who is a goblin mastermind linguist. And if you think that's powerful, wait till you see me buy a key later.
That could happen. That entirely could entirely be a thing. We'll just have to see. All right, very good. Blarg, very nice. Baldwin O'Farrell of the Poughkeepsie O'Farrells.
Hey everybody, my name's Tim, also known as Enoch Pratt on Twitch and Discord and lots of other places. I'm a theater artist and educator. I make things and I do things. I'll put my Instagram in the chat. You guys can check out my nonsense.
Yes.
I'll be playing, as usual, Baldwin O'Farrell. He's a dwarf swashbuckler from the Rakers. He's an entrepreneur of a tasty new beverage called Podka made from parsnips. And he's going to spread this joy across the Flanaess while saving the planet.
Interesting. Okay. Entrepreneurialism is alive and well here in the world of Greyhawk. Very, very good. All right, let's go do up from Baldwin O'Farrell and meet our Shadarkai non-wizard friend, Erideth Carwin.
I stole some of my intro. That's okay. I'm
I
Carl.
want to help you clarify the
Oh, thank you. I
mix-up
figure I
there.
need a lot of help with that. I'm Carl. I'm Carnage on the Discord. I play Eridith Carwin, the mysterious Kai arcane archer from the Shadowfall. He's dressed in gray leathers of various shades. He has a wicked-looking bow, which, of course, is frequently mistaken for a wizard for some reason, or at least by one person.
All right.
That's it.
That's it?
Not a wizard?
Not a wizard. Okay.
A wizard.
There's
No.
been some confusion.
A little bit.
So, all right, very good.
Interesting.
Very nice. Okay, Daryl Nimblebutter Bottom.
Butterbottom.
Nimblebottom. Don't even want to know.
Say that 5 times fast. So my name's Bob, Doc Shoulder. I play Daryl Nimblebottom, who is a dwarf Tempest cleric from the Vespi Forest. He came to take the place of his brother Bingo, who is a halfling, and he's been now part of the party trying to search for a solution to his problem that he's been having, and he thinks he might have a solution. He's looking forward to the next steps as being Brother Gonzo.
That's right. Brother Gonzo. Interesting, yes. And finally, last but not least, it's DM Dave up there playing old Hebney Craigbeam, and Dave is special, so special that he has his own chat command supporting what he's about to tell us. So
Thank you so much.
the other four really I just don't give a shit about. It's all about you, buddy.
You guys make me feel special, and I appreciate that. So thanks for allowing me to play this game with you all. I love you guys. I am Dave, DM Dave. You can find me over on the Guild Superior Twitch channel, where I produce games and run games and play games. We do have a ongoing Greyhawk campaign every Wednesday night from 7 to 10 p.m. Our party just escaped from Narisbin in the Olman Isles and is headed to South Fort Azure, where they hope to survive the Amadio jungle, but we'll see if that works. I am playing today everybody's favorite rage tinkering barbarian gnome, Hebney Craigbeam, master of fake smiles and giggles, disgruntled with his new code name because he's trying not to be as grumpy as he is historically been. He hails from the Flinty Hills in a town called the Dim Hollow that was decimated by orcs and he has traveled to this region of Radek and has now joined this crazy party. So
And so that means you really like orcs. Is that what I'm to take from that?
Well, the orcs destroyed his family, his friends, his village, and he tried to kill as many as he could. But no, he's not an orc fan.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, it's a good thing there aren't any orcs in our
Totally good thing there are no orcs to be found in this adventure.
And good thing our brilliant plan doesn't hinge upon orcs either.
Befriending them.
I may be lying.
What could possibly go wrong?
Okay, speaking of plans and hinges and the like, I don't think I have any announcements. Nothing exciting's coming up on the channel. We also are playing a Saltmarsh game. Here's the beauty and magic of Dungeons & Dragons. Our Saltmarsh is actually set in Faerun in the Dalelands. So same Saltmarsh, totally different. We're going to play it kind of by the book until the party does what parties do. So that's one of the things I love about D&D, right, is you can set stuff wherever you want to put it. And so our every other Monday game is a Saltmarsh game as well. It's a really cool book. I've really gotten into reading it and learning about the adventures. It's a really cool sandbox. So at any rate, that'll play a week from tomorrow. We're on our off week coming up. So quick recap. The party is in a little mining town of around 2,000 souls or so. The town is named Blazing Dell. And you see before you in the stream box, right, due down from my position, Blazing Dell. The river Loagrim runs through it. North is up, as you see there, kind of in the corner. We are deep in the Loagrim River Valley, far west of Aurichhold, one of the westernmost cities in Ratek. It's set kind of in the foothills of the Raker Mountains. In fact, I can zoom out of the Blazing Dell map and give you the region look while I'm chatting here. There we go. So you can see Aurichhold in the south, kind of lower central, and then that blue dot to the far west is Blazing Dell. And our party is on a bit of an adventure, a mission, if you will. They've been their services have been secured by a noble in Cavrick's Cove, and they're in search of some ancient forged weapons forged by Durgeddin himself, the legendary dwarf, who had brought his people to a stronghold deep in the Rakers, only to have that stronghold attacked and razed, looted, if you will. Most of his family fell to the swords and pikes and morning stars of a raiding orcish number of clans actually banded together, because as you know, orcs are not big fans of the dwarves in general terms. And it is to this location the party is heading. They have a map of the area, and the secret, forgotten, legendary mines of Kundrukar, which used to be this dwarven stronghold in the mountains, are where the party is making for, in hopes of gaining entrance, and hopefully finding some ancient weapons that were forged by Durgeddin himself. Interestingly enough, no mention or sign or anything referring to Kundrukar has been seen nor heard. So it seems folks in these parts, as close as they are to this supposed the existence of this place, don't speak of it. Hasn't come up. Not sure how many have even heard of it. It's ancient lore. But our party is probably 30 miles due south of Kundrukar. They have a map to a location called the Stone Tooth, and it is hoped, possibly even suspected, that the entrance to Kundrukar lies nearby to the Stone Tooth. And so we will open our scene in the Griffin's Nest Inn and Tavern in the mountain town of Blazing Dell. The weather has turned foul. We are in the last week of Patchwall. Patchwall being the 10th month of the Iridian calendar. here in Greyhawk. It is Water Day. 26 is the date. So Water Day 26 Patchwell. Water Day, if you're not that familiar with the calendar itself, Water Day is the 5th day of the week. It always falls on the 26th. And we are in the final quarter of the year, the 10th month. And so while it is autumn down in the plains and grasslands of Ratic, and the cold winds are starting to kind of descend from the north and the east and blow ashore and give the area some frost, up here in the Rakers, we've had snowfall. The party has already encountered a few snowfalls, the most recent of which dumped about 4 inches on them as they made their march from Auricold to Blazingdale. They've been in town for a few hours now. They arrived in the afternoon. They met up with a party of adventurers who had gone to investigate a mine collapse, only to find that the dwarves who were working this very small mine were all killed in the rockfall, and they have this party was on their way back to Blazingdale with the deceased in a wagon when our party met up with them. That party has since gone on to the Temple of Ula, and our group is in the Griffin's Nest, finishing supper. There's a roaring fire on the hearth. The tap room was once full before and into supper time, but group by group, the tables have begun to empty, and it is probably maybe 25% full, mostly with probably travelers or merchants or maybe adventurers, as many of the dwarves and local humans and half-elves have stumbled out the door and have gone home to bed, as they need to be up early in the morning. And I don't know if any of you, while you've been talking, have happened to look out any of the windows, but it is snowing heavily outside, and has been doing so since not long after you darkened the doorway of this establishment. So I'll turn the game over to you. You're seated around a large wooden table. There's a lot of empty crockery and plates, dirty flatware, half-full tankards of ale, and glasses of wine have been drunk. And it's probably about 8 p.m. Your bellies are full, and you're warm and comfortable for the first time in about 4 days. It took you about 4 days to get here from Auricold. So I'll turn it over to you.
Hebney is going to just raise his hand. Another round of the Dwarven Mountain Stout, please.
Angus looks up from behind the bar. Aye, laddie, we'll fetch it straight away and have it to your table. It's a lovely brew, isn't it?
It tastes good and feels good.
Yes.
Hey, glad you enjoy.
While we're here, we should probably look into getting some lodging.
I hadn't thought of that.
And I think tomorrow I need to find a key, as I mentioned earlier, and I think we should try to find someone who might have a little more information about these orcs. Are they an organized clan? Is there any reward for killing some of them? Are there bounties? That kind of information could prove useful.
So
All this
Daryl
talk of killing dwarfs is getting me a bit aroused.
Killing orcs.
That's what I said, I think. I'm drunk.
If we start killing dwarves, we'll have a whole different problem.
Oh.
Daryl turns to Blarg and asks him if he could remind him of the plan.
The whole plan?
Well, just a snippet, like a one-liner. Like, when are we going to start it? When are we going to institute it?
So there's a couple of key things missing,
Including a key.
And the other thing that's missing is we need some information. But the gist of the plan is that I'll make contact with some orcs, convince them that I can help them, gain glory in front of their chieftain, and we'll find our way into Kundrukar. Blah, 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 blah. There's a lot of stuff in between.
And we are the hired guards of that you're proposing to pretend to turn over to the orcs.
No. You, Presto, and Grumpy, and me, Grog, are the hired help, the hired guards for Podka and Gonzo. Brother Gonzo. I couldn't think of brother. Gonzo. I could think of Gonzo.
Brother Gonzo.
Brother Gonzo. And I'll tell the orcs that they're on some religious expedition, and that I believe I can lure them to a spot that would be advantageous to ambush them. We'll kill them, we'll capture them and bring them to their chieftain. And oh, by the way, in town, they have a big treasure chest full of gold. And guess who has the key to it? Your boy Blarg, your boy Grog.
What can possibly go wrong?
I guess Daryl says, but to Blarg, Grog / Blarg, that are we sure that the dwarfs are going to know how to, the orcs are going to know how to get into Kundrakar? Isn't that a key component to your plan, that they have to know how to actually get us in?
Well, you're right. And I'm only going from what we know so far, which is apparently orcs drove out the dwarves of Kundrakar. So I'm guessing, and maybe I'll turn out to be wrong, but I'm guessing that they still occupy that place. And that's why I wondered if these are a single clan of orcs, or if they are, different clans of orcs. If they're a single strong clan, that would seem to support my theory even more, that they have a base of operation.
Wasn't it Giselle that told us that the orcs have been active off the roads?
Yeah, she said that earlier.
That was also Sarel Bankdown, the female half-elf proprietor of the establishment in which you find yourselves.
Perhaps we could do a bit of orc hunting out in the along the road.
Aye, orc hunting.
But our principal goal has to be to find the entrance to this Kundrakar. And I want to use the orcs for that.
So we find the orcs, we find the door.
Right. The orcs that we find, we'll dispose of in some manner. And then access the fortress itself.
I wonder if any of the orcs would know the inside, because it's one thing to get in, but then we have to figure out our way around on the inside.
That's true.
And so there may be value to actually having an orc with us, and we'll have to figure out how to potentially get an angry orc to become not an angry orc.
Well, that would be the downside, would be how do you keep that orc from alerting the rest of them that we're there?
Maybe the wizard can do something about that.
Yeah, I based on what I've seen, I think not.
Not a very good wizard.
Not a wizard.
So
there might be ways. We'll think about it.
There may be. We'll see how the orcs react. We'll see how they react. We'll see if they're willing to deal.
And if they react poorly, we'll kill them.
Yeah, well, hopefully, because otherwise that'd be bad for me. But I think that if I know orcs the way I think I know orcs, that I can probably persuade them that it's in their advantage to work with me for at least a little while.
Well, you've certainly persuaded us to work with you this far, so I'd say the odds are good.
Well, it certainly wasn't as hard as I predicted it would be. But I chalk that up to, a good plan when you hear one.
Yeah.
Daryl asks, I forget our code name for. Oh, Presto. Daryl asked Brother Gonzo asked Presto. Do you know any of your magic that might be able to help us to disguise Baldwin and myself, so that we might look a little bit less fearsome. I'm worried. I'm worried that if we are walking around with armor and weapons, that the orcs are not going to believe our plan.
It's hard for me not to look fearsome.
True, but there may be powers of Presto's magic that might be able to help us.
If the plan though works the way I've devised, the first time the orcs will see the two of you is when I lead you to the place they designate as a good place for an ambush. And believe me, I don't care if they think you're fearsome at that point, because that's when we attack the orcs. I think we'll be close to Kundrukar at that point.
Okay, that's fair. Just thinking, we don't want to kind of ruin the plan by how we actually all look. Gotta play the role.
Could I make a request? Oh, go ahead, Erdith.
I was just gonna say, to answer your question, if I drew a wizard, I might be able to do something about that. But the magic that was gifted to me by the was purely meant to, for offense. So
now you got shafted. Hey, can I make a request?
Well, I've already agreed to call you. What did I agree? I wrote it down.
Giggles.
Giggles. Yeah, I've already agreed to that.
Oh, yeah, I have a second request then.
But he was grumpy.
Well, he is. He's grumpy now, but the next time we have code names, he'll be Giggles.
And here's my request. If things go south with this plan,
How about that request?
we need a safe word.
Well,
Because if things go south, how far do we take this plan? Do we deliver these dwarves to the orcs for certain assassination? When do we spring the trap?
so I think that the way I see it is that the plan could go wrong early, and that's when I first meet the orcs. I'm going to meet the orcs alone. You'll be nearby.
Separate the party.
But I'll meet them and speak with them alone. And if they don't want to talk to me and they become aggressive, then I will use our safe word, which is, as you might recall, tater tots.
Ah, yes.
And when I shout out tater tots, that's when you come and kill the orcs so that they
I'll
don't.
never see it coming.
So that you don't kill me. I think that's the most likely place where the plan goes wrong. If I can convince them to work with me, I think that we'll be in good shape at that point.
So once you or anybody on the team here says tater tots, that means start killing orcs.
Well, there'd be no reason for anyone but me to say tater tots, because you'll be hidden.
If I hear tater tots, I'm killing orcs. That's all I'm saying.
That's great. That if you hear tater tots, I want you to kill orcs.
But
All right.
well, what if Grumpy's the one that says tater tots? Just to
Well,
give himself.
There's no
Or
reason.
Giggles.
There's no reason for Grumpy to say that, because he'll
But it
be
would-
hidden.
Unless he just wants to kill orcs.
That would be troublesome for our plan. I think if he shouts tater tots while he's hidden.
While
think
y'all
the
are
orc-
planning, Kaylee and Kendra, the twin daughters of the barkeep Angus, come up with a tray. Well, no, they got all the tankards in their little fists, and they slam down beverages on the table in front of everyone.
I give them each a silver piece. Pip.
Oh, thank you.
So I think it's a pretty good plan. I'm not sure how it can go wrong, really.
Worst case scenario, tater tots is called and we kill orcs.
Right.
So in addition to getting lodging, we should also re-up all of our supplies, especially winter gear. And, food and ale, of course.
You guys each got an advantage from Hey Wilson from Dave,
Hey.
and so did the
Hey.
DM. Thanks for
Hey,
that,
thanks,
Dave.
Dave.
Appreciate that advantage, brah. A point of order for your plan, I guess, is the member of the party. The dungeon master is not an adversary, but a co-storyteller. Does anyone here speak Orc?
You have a goddamn linguist.
I believe I do. I do. I speak Orc.
I speak Orc.
Okay. And we have a goddamn linguist.
Know your enemy. Speak his tongue.
Know thine enemy.
Yeah, so I think this is going to go down in history as probably
Plan.
the greatest plan ever.
I feel certain.
Yeah, I
I've
think when
heard that before.
historians look back, they'll call Operation Lead the Pilgrims to Dinner brilliant. They'll be teaching it
It's a
wherever they
military
teach stuff.
tactic.
Yeah, wherever they teach
Academy.
stuff.
The
Yeah, that'll
Goblin
be
Academy.
right. They'll be teaching that.
Let's just hope you're not walking into the Kobayashi Maru.
Well, I can't believe that.
We'll just reprogram it.
Exactly.
Nice.
Push restart.
So, any other questions about the plan?
It seems pretty straightforward.
Thanks, Grog. Daryl pats him on the back and says I'm ready to go.
Good, good. Once we get the
should-
key and some information about the orcs, I think we'll be able to set out.
Daryl asks Grog at the same time, do you think that it would be smart for us to get more information now about Stoneftooth, or we try to get all that information from the orcs?
Well, I think we have to be careful about who we talk to about Stoneftooth, because we don't want any competitors.
Right.
That's fair.
In terms of finding the orcs, I suppose we could look for Giselle again, or I was thinking perhaps we could even speak with the sergeant, Sergeant Colton, I believe, of the guard. See where the most orc activity's been happening.
Yeah, I'm interested again to know sort of how they're organized. If anyone knows, if they're one big clan or multiple clans, if someone knows, who the chieftain is or has heard of a name, that would be useful information. But we'll see what they know. They may not know much. And I also wonder if they have a bounty on any of these orcs. What would make an orc really mad if they knew that this town had a bounty out on them? I might be able to use that.
Talking to the sergeant seems like the thing to do then to find that out.
What time of day is it right now in Blazing Dell?
It is like 8 p.m. evening.
Oh, okay.
Big day tomorrow, fellas.
Perhaps we should rest up.
Scott, is Griffin's Nest also a place where we can stay, or no?
Yes, it's the Griffin's Nest Inn and Tavern.
Okay. So
Yes, it is.
Daryl goes up to Cyril and asks to be able to get a room for him and his companions here, rooms for everyone. And
Oh, yes,
Daryl's,
of course. We'd love to have you spend as much time as you like. We have several rooms still available. There are a single room for a gold and a double room. We have a few double rooms, and that is a gold and 5 silver.
Daryl says thank you, and at the same time he turns to his companions and says that he'll pick up the tab for tonight's stay for the group. So he hands over 5 gold
Okay.
to Cyril.
Yeah. Thank you very much. If you follow the staircase up, you could take the first 5 rooms on the left side of that hallway there. And if you would like, we can bring up basins for bathing, washing. Wouldn't be a proper bath, but at least you can get the dirt and grime of your travels off of your brow. And you'll find the beds are not fancy, but they're sturdy and warm and comfortable.
That would be wonderful. Thank you. And Daryl kind of starts leading the way upstairs after he pays her the
Okay.
5 gold pieces.
She takes your coin, has a quick look at it. So it's acceptable to her. The coin of exchange here in Radek is probably the old Airdy coin. I'll kind of have a look at that as we're chatting. So she just makes sure that you're paying in something that is something that can either convert or that she can accept as is.
Scott, what's the crowd look like in the tavern
It's
right now? Is
become
it
kind of
growing?
sparse. No, it's actually
Okay.
it's actually thinned out since dinner. You've noticed table loads of people, and the people who have left appear to be what you would assume to be locals, tables of dwarves and humans. They look like maybe the mining, hunting, foresting type based on their garb and so forth. Yeah, the
Has
coinage is
Giselle-
orbs are platinum, crowns are gold, scepters are electrum, silvers are penny, and coppers are common. I can put that in Discord.
Have the adventurers showed up at all? Giselle and the
Oh,
other ones?
no, you haven't seen hide nor hair of them.
Right.
As Blarg gets up to go to his room, he's going to go to the half elf female, the owner, and he's going to say, "Hey, can I ask you a question about the orcs that we talked about earlier?
Yes, of course.
Who do you know much about them?"
I know there's numerous orcs all through the Rakers, particularly along the trade road. They like to get in groups and try to waylay travelers. So most caravans and groups arm themselves and are able to protect themselves. It's the folks who aren't smart enough to have sword arms with them that struggle the most on the trade roads. Once you get into the mountains proper, away from the roads, even if you're following, say, a game trail or maybe a trail to one of the mines or to one of the logging camps, you could be waylaid by a number of orcs, and they appear to be somewhat organized at times, and then other times not so much. It's a bit of a mystery. We don't know if there are as organized as a clan or what. We know that that's typically what orcs will do, so we assume they're working together as a clan, but we've not seen any I guess what's the right word, livery, any symbology that would indicate anything, but yeah, they do seem to organize.
Anyone in town you think would know?
Oh, yes. Well, you might speak with the militia, the town guard. In fact, I'm expecting Constable Whitewood. Dara Whitewood should be in at some point. She usually comes in to pick up a meal for the guard staff. She should be in, and she could probably speak to you a bit about the state of affairs with the orcs.
Oh, that sounds good. If you don't mind.
You can't miss her. She'll be in the town chainmail. It has a pair of pickaxes. The heraldry does on a badge on their chest. Black pickaxes against a gray field with falling snow. And she's got very long dark hair, braided, always back neat, dark eyes, average build, under 6 feet tall. Carries a long sword. You won't be able to miss her when she comes in.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'll sit back down and see if she comes in tonight.
Very well.
And that's what Blarg will do. He'll sit down and watch the door.
Okay, so I've got Daryl headed upstairs. I got Blarg, I have Brother Gonzo headed to his room. I have Grog. Is that right? Yeah. Grog is watching the door. What are Presto, Grumpy, and Podka Thumper up to?
I'm going to collect my barrels and skins and whatnot, and do business with Angus at the bar to stock ourselves with, adequate beverages for our trip.
You're going to fill the coolers, in other words.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, he's kind of wiping things down. Looks like he's begun to maybe start to maybe stock up for the next day now that the business is slowed down a little bit. And he kind of thumps in and thumps out. Got those kind of iron shod boots. And he stops at the bar. Hi, laddie. What can I do for you?
Well, we're going to get ready to take a little hike tomorrow. We're going to be away.
All right.
So I would like to stock up with a variety of your very tasty beverages.
Oh, good thinking then. Yeah, so certainly some dwarven stout, maybe a small barrel of that, a little cask. Might keep
Absolutely.
you warm and going to be cold out. In fact, it already is. So how about a cask of that? And perhaps, do you have any wine drinkers, or are you all too tough for that?
We like a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. Well, I'll set you up then. How long are you going to be on the road? How long are we provisioning for?
Oh, let's say a week.
All right. When do you mean to set out? When do I need to have this together for you?
We're going to set out tomorrow. We have some provisioning to do within the village tomorrow, so it won't be like first light or anything, but as soon as possible.
Hey, I'll see to it. I'll let you know in the morning what the coin will run you.
Sounds good.
Hey. So you've ordered a to-go beverage pack
Yes.
from Angus. All right, I've got Eredith and Hebney. What are you two doing as Blarg? Excuse me, Grog. What are Presto and Grumpy doing?
Well, Eredith was getting ready to head up to his room, but then he sees that Grog is going to linger for a while, and he's going to go over to Grumpy Giggles and say, I don't know if you were planning to turn in any time soon. I'm wondering if someone should stay down here with our mastermind of our plan to make sure he doesn't get into further trouble.
Somebody should stay. I'm willing to stay up a bit later.
I can, unless you want to. So.
You can do it then. I'll get some sleep.
I can.
I need me beauty rest.
Aye, he does.
From across the bar. Aye, he does.
Everybody raises their mug. Hey!
Hey.
Norm! Okay, so Grumpy heads upstairs. Grumpy Giggles, you're going to head upstairs to a room. So that leaves Presto and
right.
Grog and Podka. Or did you go up?
I'll go back over to Grog and say, are you going to try to conduct your business alone? Would you like me to just be nearby? Or would you like me to stay here with you?
Well, I mean, you can do whatever you like. I don't think there's going to be any trouble here. Just got a few questions.
Very well. I can just go hang out at the bar for a bit. And that's what I'll do.
Okay. So you guys are hanging out. There's a group who has moved their operation closer to the fire. It's what looks to be maybe a party of adventurers. And they're not, they're just over there talking, and there's, a couple small stacks of coin and a dagger on the table and some paper. It looks like they're maybe making plans to do whatever it is they're going to be doing. You see the Kaylee and Kendra are cleaning tables and making sure that the hearth is clean, the fire is tended. Angus is barking orders back there. You can hear him from back in the kitchen. And Cyril, the proprietress, is seated at one end of the bar, kind of around the corner from the main run of the bar, kind of watching the place. Looks like she's got, she has a quill and a ledger. Looks like maybe she's just tending to business, working on the books or whatever. So it's definitely relaxed, and it goes on this way for maybe 45 minutes. And the door opens, and almost as if she were ordered to appear, you see a female, probably 5'10", very lithe build, wearing chainmail leather armored bottoms, high hard boots. She has a long sword at her belt, and you see the badge affixed to the upper chest region of her chainmail. She has a cloak and the telltale badge of Blazingdale, the crossed mining picks with sort of this gray mountain background with snowflakes in the air. She comes in, stamps her feet, and she has snow on her shoulders. A good bit of snow comes off of her boots, and she kind of does the shiver thing and, flails her cloak around, making quite a mess of the entryway. And you see Cyril, look up and smile and nod, and Gail pulls her hood back, and you can just see her hawk-like eyes scan the room. She stops when she sees Blarg and kind of turns her head a little bit, and then finishes her scan, and then goes over to Cyril, walking very, very dexterously and confidently across. You could tell this woman commands respect just by her visage and her demeanor, which seems to be quite serious, and looks like she's all business as she steps in and begins to speak with Cyril. I have to get that figured out there. Cyril, accent mark. Okay.
Are they at the bar?
Yeah, they're at the one end of the bar, where Cyril's drinking what looks to be maybe a glass of wine, and she has her quill and her what do you call that? Her books, her ledger, out in front of her. She has a plate with some bread on it, a little bit of butter, and they start talking, and you see Angus come out of the bar, or out of the back into the bar area. He's got a couple of bottles, and he's set them on the counter, and he sees Dara and immediately nods, "Aye," and turns and goes back into the kitchen when he sees her.
Blarg's going to walk up towards the bar.
Dara and Cyril are speaking, and you see Cyril, kind of her demeanor changes, and she says something to Dara, and Dara turns and regards you. "Yes, Master Goblin, how may I help you? Cyril here tells me you wish to speak with me."
Indeed. Well met, Constable. My name is Grog.
Grog, yes. Constable Dara Whitewood at your service. How might I assist you? Do we need to go have a seat?
No, I'm just curious about orc activity in the area. I've been told there's quite a lot of it up to the north.
Yes, might I inquire the nature of your curiosity?
Well, I'm sure you can tell by looking at me that I'm quite the adventurer. And
I hadn't really noticed. She kind of makes a point of looking you over. Well, I suppose I do see some tears in your footwear. You may want to it's cold. You may want to get that looked at. And
Yeah, well,
I suppose you look like you've been down the road. Yes,
indeed.
Planning an adventure, I see. Then.
Well, I'm curious about orc activity and how much there is and how organized it is and whether I understand that the town has had some trouble with orcs, and I'm wondering if there's any bounties or anything of the like on these
Well,
orcs.
I'll tell you what we've had the most trouble with lately. It's been trouble with tribbles. But orcs are a thing. We've had some issues. There's a number of homesteads in the mountains, folks who don't wish to live in town, that they seem to have the most trouble. The orcs like to try to carry folks off or come steal their stores, their equipment, and any coin. There's been some of that. We actually captured an orc, a warrior, bandit, whatever I don't know what they call themselves, and we brought it back from questioning. And it seems they have a lair of some sort well north of here. There's a hill, an outcropping. Locals call it the Stone Tooth. Seems they're layering up there somewhere. Poor thing, we tortured it to death. We couldn't get particulars. My deputies are not known for their gentle nature when dealing with such vermin. But the mayor does offer a bounty of 25 gold per orc, dead or alive. And the gratitude of myself on behalf of the town of Blazingdale, and of course my Sergeant Culm. But yes, Mayor Barrick does have a bounty, 25 gold for any orc killed or brought to justice. It's been a problem.
And what kind of proof do you need of a dead orc?
Oh, something of a body part would be
Ear,
best.
perhaps?
Ear, yes, very telltale. Ears, a hand, something that very clearly orc flesh. Try to have it wrapped, and stashed away when you come through town. We don't want to scare any of the children if any of them are out and about, or really any of the residents. Most folks here, they hear of such things. We've never had any issues in town, and so to most folks, orcs are some sort of wives' tale or boogeymen, if you will. But yes, in fact, we've even had some orcs brave enough to try to sack some of our logging operations up in the mountains, to no avail, of course. But it's been a problem, and as I said, just earlier this week, we captured that squeaker and put him through the process.
Did he mention a clan name or a leader name or anything like that?
No, nothing like that. But Stone Tooth, we were able to get that out of him.
Did he have any markings like sometimes orcs have a mark that they wear that indicates tribe, like a fist or a...
No, nothing like that. In fact, it's the orcs wear hides and tanned and dried leather bits for armor. They're not what I would... They have weapons. Don't make any mistake about that, and they're lethal, and they know how to waylay. But they're not well enough organized for anything I noticed, ranking, badges, symbology of any sort. You really are curious about this. Have you some business here that you're concerned about? Something we might help you protect or establish?
No, as I said, I'm just an adventurer looking to make his way in the world.
I see. Are you? Why don't you roll me deception? I'm assuming that you're, at the very least, attempting to be guarded.
Yes.
Because I know you're a frickin' liar, because I know you have a plan and an interest.
I know. I hate that I had to. I hate that I had to tell you the plan.
Because I'm the DM. That is one thing I will say. I'm not the DM who will now try to thwart your plan based on what I know about it. I actually was not paying much attention to your plan.
It's neither were the rest of them, but
I know.
It seemed like it was wrong to ask you to
Neither
leave.
were we.
Yeah, no, I would never ever freaking do that. Yeah, no, that's no good.
So my deception roll was a 25.
Well, if there's anything we can do to help you with your needs, protection-wise, we don't generally venture out past the town itself proper, but we have posted a few guards on point at some of the logging establishments. That's an important part of our trade here, and we've investigated a mine or two, but usually we hire adventurers for such things.
Right. Well, I appreciate the offer, and if I learn any information, I would be happy to pass that on to you.
Roll insight, if you wish. You don't have to, but I'm not telling you shit if you don't. So
Roll an insight. Oh, 21.
yeah. So she seems quite satisfied with your answer. I hope you're not traveling alone. You stick to the trade roads, of course.
Or you know.
You're just very small.
Well,
And she's. Are you wearing a weapon, Grog? Blurg?
Yeah.
Blurg? Grog? Blurg?
Grogblog has a weapon.
What is it? A
yes.
stick or something? What do you? I have a fern
It is
leaf.
a
I'm
weapon.
just gonna wave it.
He has a short sword.
Fern +2 of waving. Okay, so you are armed and armored,
Yeah.
leather armor. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Well, if indeed we can be of any assistance, please just stop by the town hall where we are headquartered, and Sergeant Cullen or myself, perhaps you might catch the mayor. And of course, if you do. In your travels, learn of anything of these orcs and their movements, or come across a lair, we would be most grateful to have any information that you're able to find.
Well, thank you again for the information. I appreciate it, and I can tell that this town is well taken care of under your protection.
We do try hard. It's difficult out here in the wilds, but we manage. We manage well, and our town has thrived for generations.
Well, thank you again, and have a good evening.
Yes,
And then
please take care. Again, I hope you're not traveling alone. I see you have a nice blade there, but you're awfully small, and these orcs are big and nasty, and they don't much like goblins.
Oh, well, they haven't met the right goblins, I guess.
I suppose not. You seem decent enough to me.
Well, thank you. And he'll turn and
I have to believe for Blarg, it's refreshing to not be immediately suspected or looked upon as outsider or any, these folks here, and you've noticed this because it's different from many places you've gone in Ratic, that they pretty much don't bat an eye. The fact that there's a goblin walking around with a sword doesn't seem to turn much, just the like kind of, how about that kind of reaction?
yeah, it's good. This place Blarg could settle down.
Okay, so she goes back to the end of the bar where Sorel is. I assume you probably took a couple steps away. And by this time, Angus has assembled a package that you can tell by the smell of roast meat. Is probably the meal that she's come in to pick up for her team, for her deputies. And she takes that and pushes some coin across the bar and nods, flips up her cloak, kind of, gets herself ready and steps out into the night. Snow blows in the door. As you're, holy, what is happening in our chat? Wow. Hey, Wilson. Dude, thank you, man. That's,
Holy smoke.
must be payday up there in Canada, eh? Thank you, buddy. I'm blown away
guy.
with that. Thank you. Very, very generous.
It's like Oprah.
You get a sub. And
You get a sub.
And I do believe... Oh, and some bits on top of that. Each sub, whenever we renew a sub or get a sub here, the party receives a +2 that they may use for any D20 roll aside from death saves. And so they've just picked up 10 +2s. Dave, gosh, thank you, man. And 100 bits on top. Hell, man. Very kind of you. Thank you, buddy. So what all are you doing now? You've had your encounter with Dara Whitewood, Constable of Blazingdale. And she definitely, the way she moves, very lithe, very smooth. You could tell she's seen her fair share of conflict.
Blarg, having noticed how she moves after she exits the door, he's gonna walk up to his room and he's gonna try to do the same kind of walk, so that he can command that kind of respect at some point.
Why don't you roll athletics for me?
That should be fine. Oh, I got a 6.
Yeah, you stumble up the steps, about 3 steps up. Roll me dex.
Oops, I don't know how to roll. Here we go. Well, I got a 23 on dex.
So yeah, you catch yourself and kind of look around. Perception, Erideth and Baldwin, Presto and Podka.
I got a 5. I was just.
Yeah, you're in your cup. You probably got a snoot full working. Yeah, how about you there, Baldwin?
I got an 11.
Yeah, you heard a little clatter on the stair, and you see Blarg kind of catch himself as he's kind of.
He's gonna say the most foul word he can think of, goblin, and then go back up the stairs.
Yeah.
Huzzah!
Yeah. Okay. So Blarg, Grog, stumbles up the stairs with a clatter. So Daryl, Hebney, and Grog have exited the tap room, leaving Baldwin and Erideth and a group of folks who are seated over near the fire. Angus is puttering around. You haven't seen Kendra or Kaylee in some time, and Sorrel goes back to her bookkeeping.
Having seen that Blarg managed to stay out of trouble, I will head up to my room, and before I kind of just meditate for the night, I will be sharpening my dagger blades and things just in case for tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm gonna head up as well.
Okay, very good. So I'm just going to put in my notes here, 9 time, and flip the page over to page 2. Now page 2. Brought to you by our good friends at True Value Hardware. Okay. For those of you that are ancient like me, that was a very, very poor attempt at calling to mind our old friend, Mr. Paul Harvey. Good day. Okay. So that was 26. Patchwall. Coming to a close, that sound you heard. Tomorrow is the 27th. We'll wake up and it will be Earth Day. Day 6 of the week. Earth Day, 27 Patchwall as you all awaken. And it is eerily, eerily silent. You know how when you... oh, geez, Dave, thank you for the kind words in chat, brother. Appreciate that. It means a lot to me. And glad you're a part of our community. And speaking of the community, I'll drop the Discord link in chat as soon as I learn how to type. There we go. You know that if any of you who live in winter climes, when you get that big snowfall overnight and you wake up and everything feels like muffled and muted and smothered and muffled and muted and smothered and still, that's the sense you have when you awaken.
Head down for breakfast. See what's on the menu.
Very well. It is about half full. Numbers of dwarves around tables, humans around tables, all wearing what looks to be kind of mining type gear, picks, hammers, gloves, layers of clothing, drinking coffee. Bacon has overwhelmingly taken over. In fact, anybody can smell it in your room. The smell of smoked pork belly, cured with a bit of maple being roast on the fire. The smell of very strong coffee and the smell of cinnamon and icing and warm, the kind of cinnamon roll, and you see them as you head down on the bar. They're cooling on the bar, like on this mesh rack, and these cinnamon rolls are like the size of your head, and they've got ooey goo icing, kind of whitish silvery icing, almost sparkling with sugar crystals, almost as if whoever baked them like dropped some little sugar crystals on top for some crunch on top of the icing, and they're cooling, and it just, last night was very clearly the tap room of an inn on the frontier of the wilds, and this morning you awaken as if you've slept the night in a wrapped in a grandma's cinnamon roll, fresh baked. It is just heaven. With bacon. As you are greeted by, "Hey, morning there. Surely you'll have a cinnamon roll and a coffee," says Angus. He's got icing and crumbs in his beard.
Make that a dwarven coffee.
Oh, and he kind of winks. "Spirits all ready this morning, I see, lad. Very good." By the time you get to your table, Kendra has come out, also with crumbs in her. She doesn't have a beard, but she's definitely, you could tell if she wanted to let it go, she could get one. And coffee stains on her apron. So the dwarves have already been well into the coffee and cinnamon rolls.
Nice.
And she sets mugs of coffee equal in number to the 5 of you. One of which, Baldwin, you get the very distinct aroma of a very, very dark molasses-based spirit that's not uncommon among the dwarves of the Rakers. It's a dwarven dark spirit that has been poured into your coffee and is fuming upward with the steam of the coffee. And also on the table are 5 metal plates, each with a cinnamon roll that, circumference of which is near to the size of your head. Except for Blarg, it'll be like 50% larger than the size of your head because your head is smaller. Yeah. And they're ooey gooey icing, and she thumps down a crockery of butter, and there's still steam coming off the rolls, and a big plate with 2 rashers worth of crisp, fresh cooked bacon.
Continue.
That's all I got. I have to shut my camera off for a minute and mute my microphone. I'll just be a moment. You talk amongst yourselves.
Baldwin smells the coffee. He says, smells like home. And takes a big drink.
Hebney just starts stuffing frosted rolls in his mouth. He can barely chew. He's got so much in his mouth.
That's what Blarg is going to do, the same thing.
Oh, so good.
But wrapped in bacon. For that salty, sweet taste.
Meredith will eat his, but with a little bit more finesse. So,
which one of these is not like the others?
pulling off.
We have more in common with the goblin than we do with the tall shanks.
The coffee is dark. It's strong. It's nutty. And it's there is a small little pitcher of heavy cream also on the table for anyone who adorns their coffee as such.
Hey, last night when you, Grumpy, last night before you went, after you went up to bed, I talked to the constable about the orcs, and they're offering a 25 gold piece per orc bounty.
Yes.
Dead or alive.
Huzzah! We're gonna make some extra coin on this adventure.
But she didn't really seem to have much information about their organization. Only that she believes their lair is near the stone tooth.
Well, that is fortuitous. It lines up with what we had hoped.
Indeed, I think it's likely that's exactly what we're looking for now.
Will we make haste for Stonetooth then today?
Well, I still need a key, or the plan won't work.
It's really the key to the plan.
It is. It's the key. But I'm sure we can get that easy enough.
There is, as I had mentioned before, there is an outfitter. Let me get to that as you're getting your breakfast underway. Tolms, TOLM''S, Superior Outfitting and Dry Goods. It is in Blazingdale there. Let me see. It's building number C, which is right on the big square there, kind of west side of the square. You saw it as you came in. Big 2-story timber frame, stacked stone front veneer.
Are there other supplies we need?
I don't know, but I think I saw a building with a big C on it when we came in last night. That's probably the place to get the.
Had a big sign that said Tolms, Superior Outfitting and Dry Goods, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. That's probably where we can go to get it.
We're gonna need more winter gear. We're gonna need more tents. We need more rations.
The other question. No, go ahead.
I was gonna say I might even upgrade some of my weaponry, personally.
Yeah. The other thing we might want to think about is, we could go out in all this snow and head north to this orc-infested area, or we could stay right here in the Swarm Inn and eat cinnamon rolls for a while.
I'm listening.
That would be my plan B. My plan B is we just say, screw the rest of the stuff, and we'll stay here and eat cinnamon rolls and drink dwarven stout. And then, when we run out of money or whatever, we can pick up the rest of the stuff.
You make a strong point, Grog. But I do want to, how shall I say this kindly, bash some orcs.
Well, all right. I guess we can do that. I guess we can do that. It's just warm, and the cinnamon rolls are pretty nice.
Well, I'm gonna take one with us. And he grabs one more.
Considering it's late autumn, almost November, in Iridian calendar, in order to wait out the cold, you're going to be here about 6 months.
It doesn't seem bad. That seems like a good problem.
But 6 months worth of cinnamon rolls and bacon, you're going to have to get a membership at a gym.
That's E on the map.
That's E. Yeah, you're going to look like Jabba the Goblin.
They got a couple treadmills and elliptical. It's all good. That's right.
Our exercise is killing orcs.
Well, perhaps we should visit Tolms then this morning.
I just wanted to throw it out in case there are any takers.
Well, we'll certainly come back through.
Well, yeah, unless we're dead.
These cinnamon rolls are so good, I might even come back if I'm dead.
Yeah, well, let's do that. We'll head to Tolms, see if we can find our key and our tent and whatever else we need, and then maybe we can head out.
I'm not sure Baldwin can die. He might become sort of some kind of pickled creature. If he were to actually die.
A pickle zombie.
Okay, so what's the plan, you guys?
Holmes.
So yeah, like I said, I want to stock up on all of the the usual stuff, but actually some more cold weather gear, more tents, I want to pick up a couple of larger weapons than what I'm carrying right now. Stuff like that.
Okay. So to the outfitters it is?
The outfitters it is.
Okay. So you exit the Griffin's Nest. Angus bids you farewell. Oh, the care package.
Yeah.
Angus he calls Podling, Podwhack. What is your name again? Hey, Podka. Yes, please. I have your package here. Indeed. Yes.
My good man.
At 5 gold,
I owe you?
it's gonna set you back a bit. 5 gold crowns. But there's a cask here of my stout brew. There's a 3 pints of that there spirit that you've enjoyed in your coffee. There's a 2 pounds of the coffee grounds right here in this little sack. Let me see. There's a 3 wineskins with the mountain berry wine and a small cask of the rock mead.
That does it, cinnamon rolls.
I can certainly wrap up some rolls for you. If you put them on a stick and hold them way above the fire, they warm up nicely and crisp on the bottom. All that icing drips around, and it caramelizes on the bottom like caramel, like glue. Just mind your beard. Mind your beard. It doesn't come out as easy as one might think.
Well, that's what the spirits are for.
The spirits will take them right out, yes. Okay, so you've got your couple of small casks. One has the mead that Arideth has become rather fond of. There's 3 wineskins full of mountain berry wine. Hopefully somebody's writing this down. The stout, a cask of the stout. And then you've got a, let's see, there's 5 of you, so 10, 15 of these cinnamon rolls wrapped up nicely for you.
You said there was the how much of the dwarven spirit?
Oh, and 3 pints of the dwarven spirit. My apologies.
Do we have a feel for whether we're going to be off trail or whether there's a path? Because we do have these horses.
Right.
That we may or may not want to take.
So your map, and I'll put that map up on stream. You guys have it pinned in the Discord. Let me get that. Let's see. That's Blazing Dell. So the region map, anybody on stream, they're going to go due north into the Rakers, into the dense evergreen oak forest. There is a trail that leads north out of Blazing Dell. There, as the crow flies, they're going to travel about 30 miles from Blazing Dell north into the mountains. They are in possession of a map that looks like this. And on that map, if you look in the lower left corner, the southwest corner of that map, you'll see a trail. And what you're looking for is the trailhead that should be indicated. That trail leads up to it looks like it goes up into the western face or the southern western side of Stonetooth. Once you get up in there. How you're going to get up there, you just know that you've got to go basically due up from Blazing Dell. In talking with Sorrel, with Dara, White Whistle, what was her name? White Wood. They've said that Stonetooth is almost due north of Blazing Dell. But you know that you're going to be leaving the trail once you get to the logging camp that is north of Blazing Dell. Beyond that, it's just plunging into the wilds.
We could leave the horses at the logging camp, perhaps.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea. I think we should head for the logging camp, and maybe we can see if they have any additional information, and then we'll move north from there, leave the horses behind. That's a good idea.
Agreed.
The logging camp, is going to take you much of a day. better part of a day to get up there. And it's a muddy track. You know, that part is not difficult terrain. But beyond that, boy, it sure is. One thing you do notice when you step outside, it has snowed a foot. They got a pretty heavy snowfall. It's breezy. It's blowing around. It's not a wet snow. It's a typical mountain snow, a little lighter. And the wind is just kind of swirling down in this open hollow area where Blazingdale proper is, and the snow is swirling around in that big courtyard. I'll put Blazingdale back up. Stone Tooth, there we go. When you're going into that open square area beside the river on the west bank of the Loagrim River, which is, again, a very rocky, stony, typical mountain river. A lot of water in it, rushing southeastward down through Blazingdale. You can see that it's been levied up in places so as not to wash into the town itself. The town edges are kind of a little bit of cliffs. There's probably a good 12, 15 feet above river level where the town is. It's a stone, kind of a gently arched stone bridge with stone walls that are not quite as tall as the Goblin. So it's quite a safe bridge. It's wide enough for 2 carts to pass or 2 horsemen to pass coming and going. You cross that, and it seems that whoever is in charge of it has done a fairly solid job of clearing snow away throughout that square. You could see some foot traffic, people moving about, a couple of groups of folks headed either southward or westward. The other main road goes kind of to the east, and that's the road you're going to follow and pick up the logging trail off of that road when you depart for Stone Tooth. But you could see the large 2-story timber frame and stone building with the big sign Tolmes Superior Outfitting and Dry Goods across the square from your position as you cross the river. So you make your way in there.
Yep.
Okay. Plenty of places to tie horses. Your horses were stabled behind the inn, so you would have just had to let Angus know you needed your mounts, and they would have fetched them. So to Tolmes. So you make your way across, tie your animals, the various posts and railings, and stump your feet coming in. The porch itself is covered. There's barrels, kind of pallets, stacked provisions, equipment leaned up against the front. I kind of think like Wild West Mercantile meets, D&D fantasy mining town. It's all wood frame with stacked stone kind of veneer facing. And there's a big wide doorway you can enter. There's windows facing out, and you can see things hanging in the windows, provisions, dried meats and such. And you open the window, and it is nice and toasty warm, thanks to what appears to be some sort of like a coal-burning stove. And you see a graying, templed, short-cropped hair human stuffing chunks of coal with a little shovel into this red glowing box. It's a cast iron stove that has this place nice and warm, and you've entered. This thing is probably a good 30 by 30 square on the outside, and it's pretty much open to the exterior walls. There's a counter in the back. There's a dwarf behind that counter doing something. Got kind of the classic sort of visor hat on. He's got a what do you call that? A jeweler's loop in one eye. He's looking at some things. Got a quill, an inkwell. There's hand tools and things kind of on the counter, sacks and boxes, and there are shelves and racks. There's clothing. There's gear. There's tack and harness. You name it. There's a big open passageway that goes deeper into the building. And the human stops and looks up and, well met. Welcome. What can we do for you today, gentlemen?
Well, we need some provisions.
Oh, well, that's it's good that you're here then, because we have those.
Well,
lots of them, actually. What do you need? What can I get for you?
I need a key.
Okay. Iron, wooden, steel. What do you need? A skeleton key? Do you have a pattern I need to cut?
I just need any kind of key that looks like it would. Do you have a lock and a key?
Perhaps like a padlock, something you might use to lock a chest or a.
Yes, exactly.
Yes, of course. Yes, right back here. It'll be 8 silver for the lock and key. We get various sizes. Pick what you need.
All right, I'm gonna pick the one that looks like it would best close a chest.
Yeah, so you grab a metal, like a steel lock with an iron key. By the way, my name is Ted, and I'll be happy to help you with everything you need. Then you can, once you get everything, whether it's ordered or picked out, make your way back to the counter there and Keldagan. He's the owner there, Mr. Tolm. He will, the handsome dwarf fellow, and he kind of laughs. He'll be able to cash you out and see you on your way.
You wouldn't happen to have I'd like to put this key on a chain. Just a simple chain that I could wear around my neck. You wouldn't have anything like that, would you?
Oh, of course. Yes, over here. Good man. My good goblin, I should say. Sorry, didn't mean to mislabel you. He walks you over.
That happens all the time.
And it's kind of a small display over on the side, and there are like simple chain necklaces. They look to be maybe made of pewter, and there's some silver ones. There's no gold ones. Everything here is very utilitarian, martial, nothing fancy. There are some simple rings there. There are some gauntlets, maybe bracelets. So this is the jewelry section, but again, it's all very rustic, mountainy. This is not a fancy operation by that.
Yes. So Grog is going to pick out a simple, probably a pewter chain, nothing fancy, just utilitarian, like you said, where he can attach the key to the chain.
Okay. You're able to find a very simple chain. It's 10 copper. Just a very simple. It looks quite sturdy. It'll hang down long enough that you could tuck it inside of your tunic. That sort of thing. This guy's dressed in wool, hard high boots. He's got a belt with what looks like maybe a couple of leatherworking tools, a couple tinker tools, very calloused hands. He's got some gloves stuffed into the waistband of his trousers and back. His wool shirt is neatly tucked in. He's got a neat, very short, salt and peppery beard, probably mid-50s. Seems to take great pride in his work. This place is neat as a pin. Everything's in its place. There's little signage, labels. There's pricing laid out. Yeah. Creaky wooden floors. Remember, have you ever been in one of those older hardware stores? Yeah.
Yes.
I love those guys. Smell so good, and the floor kind of creaks as you walk around. Yeah. Bins and shelves, and yeah.
All right. So Blarg's going to say thank you, and he's going to, pay for the key and the chain, and or the lock and the key and the chain, and he's going to put the key on the chain and then put the chain over his neck and tuck it into his armor so that you can't see it.
Okay. He, you notice he's kind of starting a ticket tab sort of thing with a little pen, of what you've purchased, and he's kind of showing you as he indicates it so you can see the prices and all of that. What else can we get you, gentlemen?
Well, speaking of keys and locks, I'd like to get a set of manacles and a key.
All right. Manacles it is. I'll have to go in back. Are you going to be restraining something large or man-sized? We've got kind of two types of
Orcs.
manacles. Orcs. Very well. Just one set of manacles? Or do you want wrists and ankles?
Let's do wrists and ankles.
Orc hunters, then. Well, very good. I'm sure the constable and the sergeant will be pleased to know you're in town. Had some issues, particularly to the north. So I will fetch your manacles. They are 12 silver pieces. This dude's got all the prices memorized, apparently.
I'm also going to purchase a battle axe, a 2-person tent, and cold weather clothing.
Okay.
Not to mention rations.
Okay. The battle axe. He takes you through that wide area into a back part of the place, and back here he's got weaponry and some armor. Again, all very utilitarian, nothing fancy. You talking great axe?
No, just a regular battle axe.
Battle axe. Okay. Yes. There we have several of them. You take your choice. Each is 12 gold.
All right.
By the way, our weapons are forged here. Many of them are forged here in Blazingdell. We have a fine smithy who does excellent work. And if anything fails, just bring back the pieces, and I will replace them.
Well, that
Pieces of
sounds
the
good.
axe or pieces of the wielder?
Oh well, the weapon. Yes, the weapon,
Oh.
of course. Yes.
Because if the axe fails.
Yeah, I don't anticipate that'll be the case, but yes, if it is, we guarantee these. So he gives you a battle axe. What else did you say? Some winter clothing.
Cold weather clothing, 2-person tent, and rations.
Yes. Okay. The tent will be 3 gold. Brings you back to area where they've got like tents all rolled up, canvas. It even actually comes in a bag with ties on it so that you could tie it to something else. So 3 gold on the tent. You guys will keep track of your tab if you don't mind, just to keep this moving. Let's see, how long do you need as far as rations are concerned? How many days?
10 days.
All right, 10 days. That'll be 60 silver or 3 gold. No. Gold, 10 silver. 6 gold. Sorry. I need more coffee. And then you said some clothing, winter traveling clothes. That'll be 5 gold. I've got some very nice cloaks that have some fur around the hood and the cuffs to keep the snow out. Thick trousers. Yes, we could get you set there. Very good. That what did I say? The clothes would be 5
gold.
Yes. Anything else for you, my good man?
I think that will do me.
Very well. Who's next then?
Gonzo comes up to him and he asks for another set of winter cloak and boots, some torches.
Okay.
Just because hopefully we're going to be inside and potentially we're going to need them inside the inside Kundrakar. And
he's
then
got torches and bundles of 6.
Okay.
And he'll sell you 2 bundles of 6 for 1 silver piece.
Okay. And then he kind of comes up close to him and he says, "I've got a special request.
Yes,
I'm
of
not sure
course.
if you can help me.
Of course we can.
I'm looking for a priest collar."
A priest
You
collar.
happen
The white looks really uncomfortable.
Yes, exactly.
Well. I don't have a priest collar. By the way, the manacles. Those are going to run you a set, 2 sets. They'll run you 6 gold. Let's see. I could fashion something for you if that would work.
Well,
Would
why don't
be
you
like
think
a
about it?
white,
If you-
very very stiff. I could starch some material heavily.
that might work.
Let me see. And he pulls out a tape measure type of like a roll that he kind of he's got bound with some like banding, and he unbands it and he goes right around you without asking, measures your neck, kind of makes a note. Yes. Give me about 15 minutes on that. It's got a starch and set up, but yes, I can get you a collar. It won't be comfortable, mind you.
No problem. It'll be for a short period of time.
Yes, very well.
And then he asked for some rations as well. So I think you had mentioned that I can't remember how much you had said for the rations.
3 gold pieces.
3 gold. 3 gold.
3 gold
Great.
for 10
Wonderful.
days. A 10 day? Is
Yeah.
that what you bought? Yeah.
Yeah. And then Daryl starts getting into his pack to be able to start getting his gold out so they could pay him.
Okay. You there, good gnome. Or bad gnome, whatever you are. Kind of claps you on the shoulder.
I'm feeling a bit grumpy today,
Oh, all right. Fair enough. That's
but I've got a list for you.
It's not a nice day out. Oh, yes. Let me have it.
I'd like a spool of twine,
Okay. Spool of twine. That'll be 2 copper.
a couple of small bells.
Bells. Like ringing bells?
Yes, please.
Let's see. Oh, I have to dig in back. I'll let you know what those will cost. Don't let me forget. Yeah.
A crowbar.
Okay. Got that crowbar. That'll run you 3 gold. It's a nice iron one, too. Won't bend.
Beautiful. Yeah, beautiful crowbar.
And you could beat the hell out of something with it, too. It's got one end
I
is the
intend to.
bar, and it kind of has that little up, for leverage, and the other end is actually a crook, and it's forked for grabbing, and that's a D6 damage if you hit anything with it. It's nasty.
Yeah, I have a
D6,
crowbar
you
sort of
say?
like
D6, yes.
that. I've clunked a couple of things with my crowbar.
That crowbar will that'll run you 3 gold.
50 feet of rope if you have it.
Oh, we got rope from here to our cold.
I only need 50 feet.
Silk or hemp?
Hemp.
2 gold.
2 flasks of oil if you got them.
And at this, he whistles. Whitley, get out here, boy. Need your help. Okay, 2 flasks of oil. That's 4 silver.
And the last thing on my list here is a light crossbow and 20 bolts.
Okay, the crossbows are in the rack on the wall, and he kind of points over there. And then we've got bolts. Let's see. The bolts will set you back 15 silver. There's 20 in that quiver. The crossbow, are you looking for a hand crossbow or a small, you said a light crossbow?
Light crossbow, please.
Yes, that'll be 30 gold.
Here you are. Thank you. I'm
You
much less
take
grumpy
your,
than
and
I
he
was before.
tears off his list and hands it to you. Take that up to the counter, and the dwarf will check you out.
And I'll check out the
And
dwarf.
really happy that we've been able to relieve your grumpiness.
How much for the tents? Because Blarg's going to pick up that in the rations.
Oh, sure. The 2-man tent is,
There's 3 gold pieces.
thank you, 3 gold.
Okay. All right.
Except for goblins, it's 7 gold.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Well, I was going to get the other tent, but since Bart already did, I'll just get the 10 days of rations and the winter cloak, winter
Okay.
gear.
The 10 days of rations, 6 gold and 5 gold for the actual years are 6 gold because you're bigger, more material, you're taller. But yeah, and that the winter clothes again are that nice cloak with the fur trimming to keep the wind and the snow out, and the cloak material is sort of quilted on the inside. There's some sort of a stuffing in it. It's a heavy cloak, and then nice high boots that are sort of medium hard. They're not so you're not gonna be walking around with frozen shod iron at the bottom of your feet. They're more of a tanned leather with a kind of a rubberier sole for traction. And they are also fur tipped at the around the top where they meet the leg. It's a very nice winter gear.
I guess Dave's got a good point. I mean, some of the stuff we got some of the stuff.
You've had some of the stuff coming up, but winter has been more wintry
Worse.
than maybe you had
Okay.
anticipated.
Okay.
And
Wanna
so
make sure we're not-
tapping off with winter gear is probably not the dumbest thing
Okay.
you've ever done.
Yeah, Blarg's going to add the winter clothes to his.
Okay, you're back to 5 gold.
So we've got
Little goblinses.
two-person tents because at least one will always be on watch. So we should be.
I think we have 3. I think Hebney already had one.
Yeah, Hebney
That's
has
true.
the tent.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. So we're all set.
How many bells was he able to find? If
Yeah, so you guys make your way up front and get in line to pay with Keldigan. And he looks up. Oh, well, what have we here? A group, by the looks of it, headed out for a bit of a stroll. Well, let's bring your items up. Let's check you out. Anything else that Ted and Whitley and after the whistling, this young sandy-haired, maybe 15-year-old human comes out and has a conversation with Ted and disappears in the back. And then he returns and comes up to you, Hebony, and he's got 4 bells. They look to be little brass. They make kind of a high-pitched tinkle. And they are 8 silver apiece, so 32 silver for the bells. And they're actually strung on a strap of leather. They look to be something you might hang off of a pack animal or something. Or off of your pack if you wish to be spooking away general wildlife, albeit then attracting things like bugbears and gnolls, who are known to be drawn to the tinkle of small brass bells.
They love
They
the
think
tinkle.
they think they're dinner bells.
I'm going to stuff the bells with some fabric to keep them from ringing until I want them to be ringing.
Okay, very, very well. Whitley also comes to you, Daryl, and brings you a ring of stiff white cloth with a little hooky hook fastening mechanism in the back that's been hastily stitched in so that you can put it on and fasten it together in the back.
Daryl says, "Perfect. It looks wonderful.
7 silver.
It'll suit the purpose of exactly what is needed." And he kind of quickly puts it into his pack and looks over the rest of the gear that he actually received, and it seems like it'll fit him appropriately. He was a little worried about his sizing, but it looks like they got the dwarf size gear, so he's happy.
Excellent. So one by one, Keldigan checks you out. Sorry, goodness. And you're good to go.
I think we're going to see some weird gnome dance with the bells. And,
Was 4 bells sufficient, Hebony?
Yes.
All right, cool.
That will work.
So you've equipped yourselves. I assume at this point you're going to be making for the out of town?
I think so. I think we're ready.
Okay, let's do this. Let's take a 5-minute stretcho, little bio break.
Yes.
And I haven't even checked Zoom chat. Sorry, guys. When we return, we will be exiting Blazingdale and heading into the wilderness of the Rakers Mountains in search of the ancient legendary dwarven ruins of Kundrukar. So don't go away. You're not going to want to miss that because it's a hell of a lot more exciting than shopping for gear. So we'll see you shortly. Enjoy this boring screen and some music. And come back in 5 minutes. 3:16. See you then. All right, we're back. Break has broken. Beverages have been gotten. Bio has been done. And here we are. The party is equipped, outfitted. They have climbed aboard their faithful and trusty mounts. They're leaving the square in Blazingdale that you see there beside the river, crossing the main bridge, the widest bridge. And then you see the road passes by the Griffin's Nest and turns right. That's Maple Avenue. And they're going to head east, kind of southeast, out of town and into a crisp, clear, beautiful morning. There's a fresh snowfall of about 12 inches on the ground, on the rooftops, on the tree boughs. The forest around, you're in the valley of the Loagrim River. The forest near town, you see some what looks to be tended farm fields. So you see some little homestead homes, simple single-story, timber chinked or sealed by some means. Some of them have like mud sod roofs. Some of them are gabled. Actually, no, none of them would have sod roofs. There's too much snow here for that. So all of these are gabled roofs, kind of steeply pitched to allow snow to slip off of them. And you make your way out of Blazingdale, and if anyone should turn to look wistfully over one's shoulder, you'll see numerous chimneys and curls of smoke as you wind your way eastward upon the trade road. Or not upon the trade road. This is a smaller road. The trade road actually is south of town. That road that pulled you up into town is just quarter mile off the trade road. Blazingdale is not far off the trade road. But the trail you're taking is on the north side of the river. It's narrower, it's rutted, it's got holes in it. It's kind of stony, but right now it's got a foot of snow covering it. So your horses are moving a little slower than they might ordinarily move just to pick their way gingerly through the snow-covered, beautiful setting. It is 27 Patchwall. It is the 6th day of the week. That is... what day did we decide that is? I think I said it was Earth Day. And you're on your way. Are you riding in any sort of a formation or order?
Well, before we do that, I didn't want to interrupt you because you were on a roll. As we go across the river on that bridge, the river is not frozen, is it?
No, it's rushing. In fact, you get the sense that it probably doesn't freeze all the way over just because of the volume and pace with which the water races down through the rocks and such.
So as we cross that bridge, Blarg is going to take the lock that he just bought, and he's going to toss it into the river.
That was a perfectly good lock.
Yeah, it served its purpose, though.
Sure did.
Hey, Scott, just to go back, before we left the store, on the way out, Daryl kind of quickly, he noticed in the side of his kind of eye some chalk and some marbles, and he was gonna try to grab those, and he'll hand over some cash on
Just
the way out.
Just a couple copper pieces for the...
Yep.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
You are most welcome.
Want to use our standard riding marching order?
I think
Sure.
so.
Is that Aradeth, Baldwin, Blarg, Daryl, and Hebney? Is that correct? Or is that
I think it's actually flipped from that. I think Hebony is out front.
okay? So does it go Hebney, Daryl, Blarg, Baldwin, Aradeth? Or is it something else?
That's it. Nope, I think you've got it.
Hebney, Daryl, Blarg, Baldwin, Aradeth. Is that right?
Yep.
All right.
Are we still using our aliases now, or can we use our real names?
No, I think let's keep with the aliases for now.
All right, I'll just stick with Giggles then.
No, Grumpy. Giggles is next time.
I'm getting grumpy.
Well, that's why I named you that. It's easier for me to remember.
Grog, you old rascal.
So Daryl turns to Grog and goes, "So is he giggles or grumpy?"
He's grumpy.
Grumpy.
Yeah.
Damn right I am.
This is gonna go so well.
The next time we have to have aliases, he can be Giggles. Especially now that he's got the bells.
So I just have a question, a point of order more than anything. Are these aliases or are they code names?
I think they're aliases.
Okay. Alias seems like more fully immersed, almost like a change in character, a role one might play, whereas a code name is more of like a designation.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
yeah,
I'm anal retentive word boy.
I think they're aliases because
So
I think that's what we're doing.
Whenever I'm being Podka, that's an alias. Whenever I'm going to be Thumper, that's going to be a code name.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but Podka, his alias is he actually works for Baldwin.
Yeah.
And so he goes out into the world, looking for prospective, resources for the Podka, industry. That's why his name's Podka.
Yeah.
It's a good cover. Real good cover.
Yeah. The more complicated we make this, the more foolproof the plan becomes.
I mean, I'm just a grumpy gnome, so I'm just gonna stick with that.
That sounds
Okay.
like goblin logic right there.
Starting to
More
rub off on me.
complicated.
So you're making your way out of town. The road has wound and twisted into the trees. The elevation is already starting to increase as you get away from the road. Slowly works its way away from the river, and there's you're probably a mile and a half east of Blazing Dell, give or take, northeast. And there's a signpost, kind of a crudely painted sign that points up a very rutted, nothing much more than a trail, cart path, if you will. And it's deeply rutted, well worn, and it says logging, and the arrow points up the trail. Hey, Vivacia, what's going on, Vivi? Everybody mark down another advantage, and the dungeon master will do so as well. Thanks, Vivi.
Yeah. Thanks.
Vivi.
Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well. Vivacia plays Ronvin, the artificer. What do you call it? Azamar artificer on our Monday night game.
So good.
Is the so the sign points in the direction of this path? Is that the only way we can go?
No, you could continue on this road. This is enters from the left and it goes kind of to the north.
So what does the sign say? Other
Logging.
than logging, and it's in common.
Yep. Painted. Oh, it says Greenbow logging. 2 words, Greenbow, Bough. And then the cart trail that you're on, the wider one, kind of continues winding. You've already gotten back away from the cleared, kind of what looks to be farm field type ground and the farmsteads. And more, you're starting to see copses of trees, more rock, outcroppings. The ground is already starting to elevate and grow. The terrain is growing more rough.
Pebney's going to be looking for tracks in the fresh snow. Any orcish tracks, and then he has his light crossbow sort of across his lap as he's riding.
Okay. Yeah, roll perception, please.
Ooh, that's pretty good. 18 total.
Yeah. No signs of anything. It's freshly fallen snow. Nothing has been this way since the snowfall.
Any ravens?
The occasional crow in the trees if you get near a collection of trees, but nothing like that mass of crows or ravens that you encountered. Yeah,
That was troubling.
sure, it's fine. Just the mountains and ravens.
Well, we should probably continue towards the north, I guess. That's where the logging, my understanding, where the logging place is.
Yeah, they kind of gave you the impression that the only real road northward from Blazingdale is this road that leads to the logging encampment that is apparently named Greenbow.
Wow.
That seems to be what's going to set you on your way to the Stone Tooth.
Well, let's keep following that path then.
Very well.
Agreed.
Very well. Hebney and Aerodeth in particular, I assume that you all are going to be kind of more than just passively perceiving as you're headed north.
Absolutely.
We
Okay.
will,
This
we will pass all of our checks.
Yeah, Garrett just smooth. Yeah, no problem. So this roadway that you're on, again, is a rutted path. You can tell that it's seen some use in places where maybe the snow didn't cover it fully because of the wind. You know how sometimes when the wind blows and when it's snowing, you'll get bare patches of bare ground and then other areas where there's drifting and so forth. Your horses don't have any trouble navigating it. They're just not going, super fast. You could tell the horses are just being careful. But you could see like wagon, tracks and frozen, horse tracks in the mud, that sort of thing, whenever you do encounter some bare ground. But the snow is undisturbed as you head northward, and it's less than half a mile before the terrain all starts kind of just gently elevating upward, and the trees thicken. Again, you'll see a few stands of aspen, or in places there's like an aspen, which you might consider a grove, where pretty well as far as you can see, it's mostly aspen trees with some pines that are dispersed. And when it's not that, it's mostly fir trees with the occasional few oaks, large here and there. And these trees are big. You could tell through here nothing's been cut aside from what was cut to clear this trail. Here and there you can see like big hunks of bark laying aside the road as such that might have come off of a log being dragged down through here, that sort of thing. So it looks like this is a well-used trail or, road, just nothing since the snow's fallen. And it winds generally north. And now and then it'll have to come around like a large rocky outcropping or maybe a hillside rather than go through it. It was wound around it, and so forth. And you can tell that trees were cut to make way for this. There's some stumps here and there close to the road, but again, nothing's been logged through here. And within a mile of getting into the forest proper, that forest thickens. There's thicket. There's like hackberry, hawthorn, thorn bushes. Have you ever seen a hawthorn tree?
No.
I mean, you're talking thorns, like thorns. I backed into one as I was trying to play a golf shot out of a tree line, and I backed into a hawthorn in the middle of my back and took about a half-inch deep wound before I could, stop backing up. Owie. That kind of stuff. Bracken, berries, those blue blackberry vines or raspberry vines with the stickers all over them. That kind of stuff along the sides of the road as the forest grows more dense and thick. It's quite quiet. Those of you who are perceiving, you've seen a squirrel here and there, a bird, some jays cawking at each other, squawking and cawing and calling. But nothing out of the ordinary as you make your way deeper into the woods.
Well, let's keep moving.
Yeah, keep moving. I think we just keep moving forward, and we try to get to Greenbow Lodging.
Okay. Yeah. You spend most of a day. The shadows are growing long. When the road widens, after a while, again, you're still in the woods. It's definitely very wooded. You've elevated a good bit. Does anybody have like a mountaineering skill? Or is it? Maybe Baldwin's the guy to ask. If you are interested in the elevation change, I would maybe have you roll survival, Baldwin.
Okay.
And I would have you add +4 to your roll. I'm just going to make that up since you're a raker guy.
I am a raker guy. It's true.
A Rakertonian?
So that's 20 plus 4 is 24.
Nice. Yeah, you can tell that your horses have probably picked their way maybe 800 feet in elevation since you left the east-west cart road. So I wouldn't say steep because you've been at it all day. But yeah, you find thing starts to open and you see a number of just very crudely constructed small cottages, cabins, smoke curling from most of them. You see a couple of humans with axes on their belts, like hand axes, walking across, and they kind of stop and look at you, and their hand goes to their hand axe as your party comes into where this has mostly been cleared. There's still some trees standing. You're not by any stretch in a clearing, but the woods has been, you could see by some low stumps and things have been hacked back. There's probably a dozen or more of these small cabin-y cottages. There's, chunks of rock here and there. There's a larger building with smoke coming out of a stone chimney. Excuse me. And there's, you can hear the sounds of sawing, like sustained, like it must be mechanized by some means. You can see there's some horses tethered. There looks to be like a livery or a stable. And there's, the sawing sounds look to be coming from kind of a large building off behind the cabins. And these two fellows stop and they're dressed in weather appropriate winter gear, high boots. They have like heavy coats on. They have gloves on, and they stop. They're wearing like hats with muffs to keep their ears. You could tell these fellas spend a lot of time outdoors, and they kind of stop and look at you and raise a hand as if to indicate that you should stop. And then one of them whistles, and out of probably the first 3 or 4 cabins and cottages, the doors open quickly, and out come some other human men, many of whom are fairly swarthy, some of whom have full beards, in various stages of dress. Some of them look to be wearing what would pass for long johns. All of them, most of them have breeches on and a tunic. Some of them pulling coats on. You see anywhere from spear to pole axe to sword, as they all evacuate fairly quickly and approach you. What is your reaction?
Well,
Bill.
friends.
One particular gentleman steps forward wearing kind of a flannel open top, buttoned or not latched shut, and an undergarment over heavy woolen breeches. He has a longsword on a sword belt and an axe in hand, and he steps up. Hey, Braden Hawthorne, welcome to the Green Bough. What business are you on, and what brings you this far out away from the road or from town? Dude looks capable, tough. He looks each of you dead in the eye.
We've just come from Blazingdale. Traveled the day looking for a warm place to sleep. We have spoken with the constable. Said you were friendly folk who would welcome us in.
Whitewood.
My name is Grumpy.
Grumpy. Yes, again, Braden Hawthorne. And he looks around the group, and he looks at Blarg, and you would be...
Oh, I'm Grog. Nice to meet you.
Yeah. Looks at Aridith kind of curiously. Don't know I've seen one like you. You're an elf, yes?
Yes, I'm Presto, the elf.
Everybody starts laughing.
Yeah, we did.
Presto.
As he takes off his hat and goes like
Yeah,
this.
yeah, with his little purple robes with the gold tips and the little moons and stars all over. Yeah. That's what I'm picturing.
That's his winter gear.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what someone else was picturing too.
That's all
Nice.
they had.
And a couple of dwarves. Well, what brings you clear out here? We're not due for provisions for another 2 weeks, and we're not due for a shift change.
Well, we're on a quest when we're just scouting out the area, and we were told that we should come up this way and that it might help further our quest.
Indeed. Well, let's get in the lodge and warm up and get you something to eat. Come on, up this way. And he kind of thumbs toward the larger, probably the nicest looking dwelling. Looks like just a large lodge, single story. Everything here is very utilitarian, very plain, but it looks to be very well maintained. And he leads you inside. And inside, at one end, there's a big stone hearth with a fire blazing. A big pile of cut wood right by the fireplace. There's these long tables with benches. So this must be kind of a mess hall. One end appears to be kind of a service area. Some tables are pulled together as if maybe people have meetings there. And then there's a couple of double doors that head back into what you can only assume might be a kitchen or some sort of other space. Make yourselves at home. Knock off the cold, and we'll get some more wood on the fire. What can I get you to drink? You must be starving. Say you've been on the road all day. It's about how long it takes from Blazing Dell if you left early enough.
Mead, if you have it.
Yes. Mead. I'll check to see what we've got. We've got beer, coffee, water. That's about the extent of it out here. It's pretty much what we need.
I think some coffee would probably be good. Warm up the bones a little bit.
And several of the men have come in and have begun to get coffee. They hang a number of kettles across the fireplace to get that going. A couple of them head through the double doors into the back. Gosh, it's almost supper time. We don't eat fancy here. A lot of dried meat, dried fruit, cheese, bread, but we do bake our own bread here. That's one thing. We are blessed with a couple of really fine baker folks. They're gnomes like yourself, so you'll enjoy that for certain. But yeah, so looking for you're on a quest. What is it you're questing? And he kind of pulls up one of the benches and sits down, one leg on either side of the bench, kind of facing down the bench, kind of relaxing.
Well, Hawthorne, right?
Yeah, Braden Hawthorne.
Braden, these two gentlemen, and he'll point towards the dwarves. They're religious folks, and they're on a what would you call it? Like a pilgrimage, looking for holy sites. But I was talking to the constable in town, and she mentioned the orc issue, the orc problem that you all have out this way. And I told her that in conjunction with their mission, we might be able to gather some intelligence, some information for her that she might find useful on the orcs. And so we thought we'd stop here first and see what you knew of the orcs. They sound like they may have some kind of organization, but it's unclear to me what that might be.
Sure. I'll tell you what I know of those damn things. And he stands up, and he sets his axe on the table. And it's a nicely, beautifully forged hand axe, leather-wrapped handle. Looks like you could shave with it. And he leads you, come over here, and he leads you over to one of the big windows that faces out into the camp. And you see on a rather large fir tree it's hard to tell. It's got some snow on it. Roll me perception. Something is tacked to the tree or hanging from the tree or affixed somehow to the tree.
Well, I got an 18.
Yeah, it looks like orc skin or hide. It's like the outer part of the orc without the orc in it. Hanging on the tree.
Best kind of orc.
Yeah, they're thick in these parts. It seems the further north you go, the worse off it is. There's a couple of old salty dogs that live up here by themselves that we have to go check on every few days. Although I'm not sure the point of that. We haven't got time to spend much more attention on them, but we've had some issues, but they don't come around the camp too closely. When they do, that's what ends up happening.
Is it just the skin? It doesn't have any equipment. It's just a skin. It's just a skin door.
Correct.
When you captured this one, did it have? Did you keep its clothing, arms? I'm looking for. I'm trying to understand how they're organized. If they're a unified clan, who's leading them?
No sort of. They're wearing hides, and they use sometimes they'll have a sword or a spear. Some of the bigger ones, we've spotted a few really big ones that seem bigger than orcs. Thankfully, we haven't had to tangle with them, but they don't come in big numbers down this far. But there's been a couple folk killed up there that their homestead is now it's vacant.
Whereabouts is that homestead?
Oh, there's a number of cabins, hunting cabins, or there's all throughout the woods out here. There's probably 6 or 8. Usually old timers that won't move to town.
And there's murder and orcs about.
Oh yeah. There ain't much to find in them homesteads but a grizzly old cranky man and an axe and a sword and your death if it's just 1 or 2 orcs. But if it's a group, they could easily overpower the old salty dogs. I'm sure that's what happened in old Lemming's case. But all you're going to find there is some coffee, some stores, and some dried meats, and that's about it. So the orcs, they haven't messed with them too much.
Braden, how close are we to Stone Tooth from here?
He's got a big, thick black beard. Kind of scritches it. Stone Tooth, you want to make almost due north from here. It's rough going. You're going to need to get across a few small streams up into the mountains proper almost. Still forested. You're still inside the tree line, but Old Stone Tooth is an imposing sight when you see it. It's got to be a good 2 days travel.
Does that take us past any of them beleaguered homesteads?
Oh, you might keep your eyes open for a trail here or there that would lead back out, but you're going to run out of road real quick north of here. You're going to be picking your way through the mountainside. There isn't much of a track. I see you come in on horses. Those aren't going to be any good to you up there.
My next question, if we were to go on a bit of a sightseeing tour up higher elevation.
What do you mean to see up there, sightseeing?
Well,
orcs are probably the least of your trouble up in there between wildcats and owlbears and gnolls and...
Owlbears, you say?
Oh, certainly. All manner
Sounds
of
fun.
nasty.
Well, we've got our own motivations for it. My question to you is, can we leave our pack animals here with you if we give you a bit of coin to take care of them?
Oh, yeah, of course. Absolutely. And in fact, if you've got feed for them, you don't need to give us any coin. It's the least we could do for some folks from down there at Blazingdale Way. How long do you mean to be up there?
Hard to say, but rest assured, should we come across any orcs, we'll be skinning them and bringing their hides back to you.
Oh, well, we'll be happy to nail them all around camp. Sends the right message, I think.
They may be missing an ear or two, but that's for our purposes.
The bounty, yes. I've got a pair of ears in my bunkhouse there that I'm taking down for my share of the bounty.
You haven't been to Stone Tooth, have you?
No. We don't need to go that far up. We pretty much work, we'll work this camp probably another 2 seasons, and then we'll shut it down and reestablish elsewhere. We work about maybe a 5-mile radius. We don't want to cut these woods down to nothing. So we pick what we want, we leave the rest, and then we move on. I'm 20 plus seasons out here. Born and raised Blazing Dell. This guy looks like he's probably 30, 34.
How long ago did that orc attack?
Oh, we found him.
Oh,
Yeah, there was 3 of them out there. 2 of them got away. Caught this one,
and how long ago was that?
oh yeah, right. Yeah, sure. That's been hanging there probably about a week and a half.
And did you didn't he didn't give you any information? You just
He didn't live
Told
long
him.
enough for that. We ain't
Yeah.
much for talking up here.
no, I hear you.
I don't know anybody who could make sense of their gibberish anyway.
Yeah, it's a yeah.
It's a filthy language.
You're a filthy beast. So Arc Hunters then. Because he's, the whole time, if anybody's paid any attention at all, he's been sizing you up, eyeing your gear. He gave, in fact, all of them have. You could tell these guys live out in the wild. Braden, is the only one really speaking. Occasionally you get a, oh yeah, out of one of the other guys. As you've been talking, they've brought out coffee. As it's been, the water's been gotten ready and everything over the fire. They've brought out several loaves of it's sort of like a very, very light pumpernickel, crusty. They've got this really nice butter that they've set out with the bread, and there's plates and knives and things, and some apples. We'll have dinner proper here in another hour or so if you mean to stay. Or are you going to be right on your way? What's your plan look like?
But I think we might like to stay the night and get a fresh start in the morning,
Aye,
if that's all right with you.
of course. You can all bunk down in here if you like. I don't have 5 cabins free. All the cabins are packed with my team. But you're welcome to make use of the lodge tonight to rest and get ready for your next hike, and it's going to be quite a hike. I'll assure you that.
Thank you. I think this, just as long as we can stay out of the cold, this is perfect for us.
Very well. So the evening goes on. They feed you. They do have what looks to be kind of a fresh deer kill. So they've got that. They've got a lot of dried meats, just very simple food, dried fruits, cheeses, and then this really nice, the pumpernickel's a little bit sweet. Must have some kind of maybe dried berries or something in it. It's crusty. You see the couple of gnomes bounce in and out, a couple of fellows, older gentlemen, wearing, aprons and cooking gear. Yeah, they wave, catch Hebney, and say something to you in Gnomish. Hey, you're
Happy and sleepy.
hey, you're fucking ugly or something like that, whatever. Nice gnome greeting. And so it's, just kind of telling stories and talking about, killing wolves and bugbears, that kind of stuff. Typical man logging time. All man, all
And
human.
log.
Do we get the sense that they how do they react to our green friend?
Green friend.
They don't bat an eyelash.
Oh, me.
Right.
Nope.
You're kind of greenish, aren't you?
Yeah,
See-
I forgot.
Seems that maybe Grog isn't the only domesticated goblin that most of the folks have encountered. Some people, again, in Blazingdale were kind of like, oh, wait a minute. But, yeah, not like you get
Domesticated.
elsewhere. Yeah, domesticated. You like that?
Very
Good train.
accepting society up here in the mountains. I like
Yeah.
this. It kind of makes me feel good. Looking around the camp from when we arrived and just sort of like the full sort of interaction so far, does it seem like there's anything that needs fixing or tinkering, perhaps? Where,
It's
might
hard
be able
telling
to
with the
help
snow.
them
You
out?
see some fence row, like kind of around the perimeter that kind of encloses, keeps the woods and the thicket out. There is a gate on the road that you came through, but it was open. It was like a double kind of metal. Think of almost like a farm gate, like a livestock gate. But everything looks pretty well tidy. The benches, everything inside, again, very simple, but it looks to be pretty well. The one thing you note is you do hear that constant kind of a saw shredding through logs and stuff kind of in the background. There's some kind of operation in the back.
I feel like Hebney would probably be interested in requesting a bit of a tour, perhaps, of the operation to see the machinery, the tools they use, just to
Braden would be happy to lead you around. And he takes you through the cottage cabins, the little bunkhouses, and there's a very large, again, wood. Everything's wood, and you see various piles of logs stacked here and there. Some logs are all what look to be kind of the same species of tree. Some of them are organized by species. Some of them are organized by circumference. Some of them are huge. Huge logs. Some of them not so much. You see some stumps, like a pile of stumps that may have been dug out. You see a couple places that look like mounded, like maybe where they burn all the excess greenery, limbs, and when they limb these things and stuff. But inside, he leads you in this big building, and you see there's probably 6 guys in here, and it looks like everything is, there's the series of belts, like leather belts and pulleys and rope and block and tackle in here, and you can see a couple of large, long kind of troughs that they could push these logs down, and then you see like a saw blade, and you see pack animals, mules, that appear to be harnessed and pulling these mechanisms. They're kind of in these circular, so it's like a thing with maybe 4 spokes, and you'll have mules on them, and and then the gears are sideways and ratioed such that it begins to spin this and that, and everything's all connected, and it's moving those saw blades, and the ratio of gears is such that the mules are not running, they're kind of just walking. They got feed bags on. I mean, everything looks well tended. But by the time you see the rotation of the saw, because you're picking this up as a tinkerer, the mule's walking at, rate of speed 1, and the saw RPMs have got to be at least 100 times faster than the mules are walking. So there's some gear ratio math happening in here with all of the mechanical operations. You see numerous hand tools. You see large saws hanging on the walls, like cross-cut saws, 2-man saws. You see these axes that are, they're almost like pole axes, only instead of being really narrow vertical blades, it looks like an axe blade. It has that front, but it's an axe blade that you would use for peeling bark, or even maybe for notching. So you see all the various logging tools, chains, what's the shit they put on horses? Tack and harness and things for rigging up animals to move shit. Big hooks that you would hook into trees, long, tree trunks that you would drag behind the horse. All manner of logging gear. So it's a tinkerer's paradise, and in your case personally, Dave, a North Woodsman's feast for the eyes, and it just smells of sap and cut wood and sawdust and burnt wood and metal tearing through wood, saw blades burning, hot smell. And then you see at the other end of the building, you'll see what looks to be dimensional lumber for its time, reasonably straight looking, planking, like beams for siding, like clapboard, or timbers big enough they're kind of square, but they're very long, that you would use for construction. And all manner of kind of lumber sizes in between. You see, stacks of wood blocking. So it's a lumber mill for its time.
First of all, that was as satisfying as the cinnamon rolls. So thank you.
Yes, nice.
That was beautiful.
Nice.
Yeah. Hebney is just like in awe. He's doing calculations on gearing. He's like looking at the way that they've got things laid out. A hell of an operation, Hawthorne.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Oh, I see you got an eye for the mechanical. Yeah, and if you have any suggestions, it's a simple operation. It's mostly efficient. I've got a couple of smaller, and you can even see they've somehow rigged up like vertical, like a bandsaw sort of a type of operation, but it's more of a. It's not a band because I gotta keep it. It's like a reciprocating motion, like a vertical sawzall. That's got some sort of a to the belt somewhere there. The mules are the source of the energy, and there's like 3 of these hubs of mules with spokes, but this reciprocating, and they can use it to cut smaller pieces into the blocks and so forth for the smaller dimensional lumber. And you see one of them's not working, and there's 3 guys with little hammers and tools hacking away at this thing that they can't seem to get it working. And this one here has got some issues. You look like you're chomping at the bit, and it might be a nice trade out for some keeping your beasts if you want to have a look at it with my boys.
The pleasure would be mine. Let me take a peek.
Yeah. So you get in there and you can see they've got the leather belting off of a couple of pulleys, and you can see a couple spindles that the gears aren't meshing. They're like spindle, gearhead, and then, gearhead, spindle. One of them's vertical, one's horizontal. They're meshing in there, and you look like there might be some teeth missing. Roll me. I guess, what's your attributes for this? Probably intelligence and dex?
Yeah, I've got a Tinker's Tools. So,
yeah, let's break those out.
Yep, Tinker's Tools and probably Intelligence, I would think.
Okay.
Maybe, at least to start.
Yeah, use your proficiency.
Okay.
Plus any intelligence bonus.
And I'm going to go ahead and roll with advantage because of the wonderful advantage that Vivacia gave us.
Yeah,
So thank you for that. Ooh, that's pretty good. That's going to be a... that is going to be a 15 total.
Okay, so with a 15, you kind of move these guys aside. I'll have a look at it. And you're looking at it, and you start start to feel your blood pressure rise a little bit, because you see some signs that this thing hasn't been oiled in a while. And it's dead on easy to tell that the accumulation of sawdust in some of the gearing has caused, because the spindles are warped a little bit, and it's caused some binding, which is starting to warp the spindles. And as you know, in mechanical things, things that get out of alignment or function, that stacks up as you go down the line of gearing, and so you get a little bindery here, and then something gets a little bunged up over here, and then by the time you get out to the end, you see laying inside the machine broken spindles, gear teeth, like it's had a catastrophic failure out at the end of the apparatus where it meets the thing that makes the blade go up and down really fast. And these guys are trying to figure out, but you can very quickly spot that the cause of this is back here where metal has rubbed, gears have gotten galled up from all of the sawdust buildup that clings to what oil was in there. Yeah.
Here it is, fellas.
I'm going to use can I use my Tinker's Tools to try to fabricate or repair the broken piece?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. In fact, one of them, Gil, says, yeah, I've got some metal here. I know we need to fashion a new shaft and some gears here. We've got some patterns, kind of, and get it kind of reassembled. But what I really need to understand is why this is happening, because this is the 3rd time in probably 6 months that we've had this thing go down the same way.
Well, let me explain it to you. The torque on this here shaft with the gearing that you've got in here is a little off. Now, if you were to readjust the gearing to a 3/16 cogwheel, then you'd be able to fix it up real quick, and this thing would be humming.
He's listening to you, and he looks at you, and he kind of cocks his head. One more time. What's causing it to look back here at this linkage over? Why is that bent like that?
Well, see, you've got a 4/17, you need a 3/16 cogwheel to reduce the torque on the shaft.
Okay. Okay, I see it now. Yep. All right. He's kind of looking around in his parts box, and he gets out the size cogwheel you recommend, and you see it's got like a keyway in it, and the shaft has a keyway up at the end, and he gets this thing fitted in, and he lets you kind of dig right in there and help out, get all the parts back together. And in no time, 15 minutes, that thing is up and running. So what's going to keep me then? This is the right size, but what's going to keep this thing from binding up again?
Well, you gotta clean this here sawdust out from time to time, my man. A little bit of maintenance. That's all it takes. You'll be all right.
He kind of looks
Did I
around.
say that too loud?
And
Sorry
and,
about that.
And Braden kind of looks at him. Cleaning, eh? And Gil looks up and goes, yeah, all right. I'll get on it. I'll see to it. We'll get a schedule. Because if this one's doing it, they're probably all doing it. Just been real busy.
Understood.
Well,
Let me know if there's anything else I can help with.
I thank you. Gil Hackberry.
Grumpy.
Grumpy. Okay.
It's like Madonna. Grumpy's like Madonna.
Just
Just does the
Prince.
fake smile.
Prince.
Prince,
That's
yeah.
right.
I mean, you're from Duluth, right? I mean, Prince is
That's right.
up that way.
That's right.
Minneapolis, I guess. Bob Dylan is Duluth. That's right.
Just grumpy.
Okay, so Hebney kind of saves the day and helps this guy get his reciprocating saw. I don't think they'd have the technology to make a bandsaw yet. Metal banding. I guess they could. All right. Yeah, so you get this, you get your tour, you get your tinkerer's fix. It almost, you caught yourself like you just wanted to choke the shit out of this fucking imbecile. Like, how could he not see the buildup? And you could tell by the degradation and the color and the smell that the oil that's in there is probably original. And by the looks of the equipment, this is stuff has had to have been up here for probably 6 or 7 seasons. And you're rage tinkering.
I considered it.
You know,
considered raging.
I mean, it was nip and tuck there for a minute.
It's close.
The warmth of the cinnamon roll still on your breath from this morning probably saved the day.
Yeah.
All right. So you managed to get the this guy's piece of equipment going, and Braden's like, yeah, you board your horses. We may have a few things for you to look at when you come back down, assuming you make it. I'm a little nervous, 5 of you. You guys are good with those blades, right? I mean, I don't mean to question you, but it's nasty up there.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
we got a wizard, so that's okay.
We'll be fine.
I mean, wizards aren't much good up here, but whatever. All right.
Well, they're not. Honestly, they're not much good anywhere. Apparently.
Gonna have to agree with you there, little one.
Hey, brother Gonzo. May I have a word with you over here for a moment?
Yeah, and you guys are kind of making your way back to the lodge. Braden lets you know that he's going to go ahead and turn in anything in the lodge is at your disposal. Make yourselves comfortable. Keep the fire going, and sleep well.
Yeah. Once we get into the lodge, Grog will say, Brother Gonzo, can I speak with you over here for a moment, please?
Grog, happy to talk. How are you doing?
Good. Grog's gonna switch to Dwarvish, and he's gonna say, the next time we have dinner, it would be good for you to perhaps say a prayer at dinner, since we're pretending you're a priest and all.
Noted. And Gonzo turns to him and says, I'll use one of my dinner one of the things that I say that I learned growing up as we feasted it in my Hobbit village when I was growing up, and so happy to do that. It'll be in Dwarvish, but they'll never know the difference. It won't be in Dwarvish, but they'll never know the difference.
You don't have to tell me how to make the soup. Just serve me a big bowl next time.
Understood. Will do. And then Daryl actually looks around, and so we're inside now.
Yeah, you guys are
Is
probably
that-
back to that lodge, and it's the 5 of you, plus the remainder of the meal. You know, some of the venison is still on a plate, and the dried meats, and there's still coffee beer. The beer is serviceable. It's not great, but it's better than not beer. And the mead is a little watery, Aerodeth, but it's, it's recognizable as mead. Doesn't have a lot of punch.
Is there any signs of hanging on the walls? There's no like blades, or there's nothing that would be that would signify like any type of dwarven something that would be a dwarven forging,
right,
or skill.
Yeah, no. Think like Grange Hall meets cafeteria, like summer camp lodge, with none of the summer camp art and sculpture and trappings. It's the bare bones. The floor is hard dirt, and a little bit of bits of rock and things. You can see sweep marks where they take a bough of a fir tree and sweep it out. It's very, very Spartan. Wood walls. There are windows, kind of equidistant, down the sides. It's kind of a longhouse, if you will. And then there's the big fireplace at one end with a few chairs and smaller tables that face it for kind of sitting and lounging. And then it's mostly long tables and benches. And then the other end has what looks like a meeting table.
So no evidence that these guys know anything about what's going on inside this stone tooth.
Right, yeah. There's no dwarven forged memorabilia. There's no like stolen yard sign that says Kundrakar Rocks or anything like that. Yeah, nothing.
It'd be convenient if they'd found all the weapons for us.
Right, yeah. They're in a pile on one of the tables. Yeah. And in fact, there's a little nameplate right in front of them that says,
it was
"Deliver
smart
these."
To look, because you never know.
Yeah.
There's a little name card in front of the pile of weapons that says, "Deliver these to Vinek Onstrad."
Nice.
Make haste.
I like it.
Yeah. No. Negatory Ghost Rider. So the evening falls. Thankfully, no snow falls. It's been cloudy all day, but the skies looked kind of threatening when you could see sky. Again, the canopy's really dense, but it's a quiet night at the lodge. You can lock it from the inside if you wish. There's one main door in and out, and then what looks to be a back door. Like if you explore, there is through those double doors. There is a very simple kitchen area with a couple of wood-fired like stone ovens. Food preparation. There's what looks to be outside the back door a trapdoor arrangement that's probably down in for the cold storage into the ground. And there's another kind of a fireplace where they prepare food, and it's just very simple, very Spartan. Exactly what you'd expect from a far out of the way, edge of the wild logging operation. Did any of you go with Hebney on his tour of the logging mill?
Baldwin would have gone.
Was that the whole group that went, or?
Ballard wouldn't have gone.
Couldn't give a shit less, yeah. So anybody that went would have been very, very, very impressed with Hebney. Kind of stepped in, took charge, diagnosed. You guys are looking at stuff like, oh, that's cool. You don't know what the hell you're looking at. Other than it was kind of like a marvel. Like most of you probably haven't seen stuff like that. Now, Baldwin, you're probably not unfamiliar with this sort of stuff. You've probably been in a couple logging camps up in the mountains, and you're certainly no stranger to fabrication of things or, working, tools and hand tools and mechanisms and things that would be more associated with excavating and probably mining, and forging. That be fair?
Yeah, that does sound about right.
But all in all, it looks like a pretty tight operation. You could tell by the demeanor of the men there that they all respect Braden. You can tell, again, by the way he carries himself, that he's probably not half bad with that longsword at his hip. Yeah. Did you guys tip down for the night?
I think so. Are we going to post some kind of watch?
I was going to say, we're inside a logging camp. It seems to be pretty well secured against orcs and such, but we may still want to at least maybe have 3 watches of one person, just
Okay.
out of precaution.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no problem.
sure.
I will say this: the only thing you hear are the plaintive, lone howl of wolves in the distance at times. Kind of call and answer. That's about the only thing you really hear. You did also, Hebney and Baldwin, notice that behind the mill was even a larger, because there's a livery and a stable area out front. There's an even larger livery stable area that has horses and mules. There's several large wagons that look to be very, very sturdy. That's probably their work animal transportation, hub, if you will. All right, so the night passes uneventfully for those of you who are on watch. Again, all you heard were the lone howls and cries of wolves in the night, not particularly close by. And the following morning, you awaken, and you can tell by the there's definitely, because of the fact that this area is sort of, this is probably the site where the buildings are is probably 3 acres, maybe. There's still lots of trees in and around the buildings, but the sunlight of the dawn definitely finds its way through the less dense canopy, and it appears to be setting up to be a little bit warmer day, and a very sunny day as dawn shines its face upon Free Day, the 28th of Patchwall. As you guys are awakening, several of the loggers come in, and they check the fire, make sure you guys are good. Braden comes in, and they set out a nice breakfast of dried meats and cheeses, and more fresh bread. This time it's more of a white bread, crusty white bread, very nice, almost akin to a sourdough. Hebney, this is one that you've had. It's a classic gnomish bread, so it's Hebney feels like he's kind of gone back home for a visit in a manner of speaking.
Sour gnome dough.
Always. You see Hebney with a smile on his face that is not forced.
Unforced smile, nice. So now you know the secret: gnome white bread. So sunny and bright day, a little warmer, like you're almost a little bit warm in your winter cloaks once you get outside moving around a bit. Braden has already taken the liberty of pulling your animals into the back stables. He just lets you know that all your gear that was on the animals is still on the animals, and that the stables, once they get them in there, they'll take off the tack and harness, and they'll stack all the saddlebags and everything. Just take what you need for your trip. All the gear will be stowed. Everything's covered and enclosed in there. Those animals will be well taken care of, and we won't put them to work or anything. How long do you plan to be? Stonetooth is at least 2 days.
Well, it's hard to say really. 2 days in, 2 days back, day or so for the visit.
Say, minimum 5-6 days.
All right. The only reason I ask is I just need to know when it's been too long and I need to start worrying.
Oh, you don't have to worry about that. We'll be back.
I certainly hope so.
Well, if we're not back in 10 days, maybe start looking for some bodies.
Or you can just eat the horses if you like. Whatever.
Ah.
All right, just making some notes here. Okay. Well, we wish you well. Well met. Thanks again for fixing our saw and reminding Mr. Hackberry of his need to properly maintain our equipment. That wasn't the first conversation that's been had, but I understand I've been pushing them rather fervently.
I mean, I'll go in and have words with them if you want.
No, I could tell. I saw a vein on your neck begin to throb.
Yeah, you can't treat cogs and spindles like that. You just can't.
Dude's like hurt feelings and mortally wounded about this. Yeah. Right to the heart of the gnome. Yeah, noted. We appreciate your help, and boy, any orcs you can clear out, well, that's just the fewer we're going to have to contend with. Just mind your business up there. It's dangerous. You're on your own entirely, and it's inhospitable at best, deadly at its finest.
That sounds just like what we're after.
Well, in that case, I wish you well, and we'll see you perhaps in a week or so, maybe sooner.
Yeah, we'll see you then. Thanks for everything.
Aye. And he gives you clasps, firm handshake and all that stuff. And he and a couple of his guys just kind of stand in the doorway of the lodge as you guys begin to make your way now on foot in a northward direction away from the Greenbow logging camp. And you can follow like a mule trail that, it's not real wide. It's rocky, but it does look like a trail that a lot of logs have been dragged down. Pieces of bark and boughs and, that. But it's not a hiking trail. If you're not careful, you're going to turn ankles and all of that. And it's actually warmed up nicely, and you can... That feeling when a good snowfall starts melting because the ambient air is north of freezing and the sun's energy up here, again, you've begin to go even higher in elevation. And as you know, particularly Baldwin, the higher in elevation you go, even though it could be cold, the sun's energy will melt snowfall based on your increased elevation, because as you go higher, you're technically getting closer to the sun. So snow tends to melt quickly up here until it's so much that it's a pack. And you pick your way through the fir trees, the aspens, the oaks, and the forest in no time becomes quite dense. And you make your way up this winding, craggy trail. Again, you're probably a half mile away from the logging camp, and you can feel the elevation start to increase. You know that you're deep in the tree line yet. You know that far in the distance above you are the granite, craggy peaks of the Rakers. But you know that just ahead of you is the bare, foreboding visage of the Stone Tooth that right now you're probably looking forward to seeing. And probably within 3 or 4 hours, and you see some signs of logging activity, some trees cut here and there, sawdust, bark that's been stripped away, or boughs that have been stripped away so that the thing will fit down the track. But the further you make your way, two things begin to happen. You see fewer signs, fewer trails, and the terrain is much more difficult, so your pace is easily, at best, half what you would prefer it to be, because you are officially in difficult terrain. Things that you see that are hampering your progress, there's a lot of vines, and these are thick, woody, brown, the kind of vines that you can kind of peel a little bit. They almost have their own little thin bark and peel, but they're very, very, if you give them a pull, man, they are definitely affixed to something up in the canopy, and they wind around the trees almost as if they were alive at one point, trying to strangle the trees. A lot of thorns, berry bushes, brambles, rock. you just have to be careful going now. I would presume several of you have probably picked up some form of a sturdy walking stick just to help you leverage yourself up and over things. Twice before lunch, you've found your way blocked by water. Something that you can pick your way across carefully. Doesn't really require a roll, as long as you're not telling me you're going to run pell-mell across it, not worrying about your ankles, your shins, or your balance. But if you just pick your way across, you could stay out of the water. You've found at times that there's been like almost a cliff face. You've had to kind of follow it around, and then the slope is a little bit more gentle, and you can make your way up northward. I'm going to ask who would be good at cardinal direction maintenance? Anybody? As far as keeping your game on point direction-wise.
That'd be like survival.
Yeah, who's good at stuff like that? I'm assuming Baldwin, because
Or
you're a
nature.
mountain guy. Survival is definitely the...
All right, we'll try survival.
All right, let me...
I got a 15.
Okay. So far, this first half of the day, Baldwin, you've been able to keep your sense of direction. One challenge is that you don't always have the aid of the sun because of the density of the canopy. It is thick down in here with trees, and then above you, of course, the trees are close together. In places you have to pick your way, through them. And the canopy itself is very dense, and there's stretches where you walk an hour or more without really a good peek at any kind of open sky. But with that 15 survival, you manage to feel pretty confident that you're keeping your party moving in a generally northward direction. But the going is annoyingly slow. How are you all handling keeping your wits about you? What's going to be the kind of the practice? Give me some detail on how you're staying perceptive.
Well, Baldwin is staying perceptive because he's leaning into his mountaineering skills. He's harkening back to his youth and remembering all the training he had as part of the clan.
Okay.
And digging in, as would say.
Yeah. So far, you feel confident that you're keeping it on a general northward trajectory. Occasionally, you'll get a little peek at the sky, but it's really hard to reckon which direction the sun is. It's just an increase of lighting more than there's, the sun is coming from this, to my right or my left. But generally speaking, it feels as if, looking at maybe some shadows, that you've managed to keep the sun generally on your right side-ish, which is in the east, and then it crosses over top, and then it should switch over, But so far, it's just the first half of day one, away from the logging camp. What else are you guys doing?
Yeah, Daryl, because he doesn't quite actually understand it, because this is something that's not kind of familiar to him, but because of kind of his alignment with his new god, he has this ability to sense weather and changes in temperature and cloud coverage and how the wind seems to be blowing, and all of those things seem to give him some sense of understanding of the things that are around him. And he's not clear where the sense is actually coming from, but it's clearly he seems more at home in the environment where they are now being exposed than he ever used to feel in the past.
Okay. Yeah, well, today is a good weather day. Like I said, it's, in terms of degrees, it's probably almost 40. It's that day, like if you're up in Tahoe or up in the hill country and you're cross-country skiing or downhill skiing, it's like fresh snow and shirt sleeve skiing weather.
Yep.
It's good stuff. And that feeling lasts throughout the morning. throughout the lunch. You've seen numerous interesting topographical features. You've crossed a couple of streams. You've had, there's some really beautiful, where the topography kind of flattens out again. You see these really beautiful small aspen groves, maybe even enough with some berry bushes, flowers. Well, not flowers, but what would have been flowers, greenery. Because again, we're in very late autumn. But by and large, most of this is fir trees, right? Cedars, firs, pines, redwoods, that sort of thing. Occasionally you'll get areas where it's, feels like it's probably, if it weren't for that snow cover, that'd probably be all pine duff, where you could walk kind of silently. And as you're cruising along, right, Baldwin, I'm going to have you make perception.
Okay.
In fact, any of you are at any time would like to roll perception, that's fine.
22 for Baldwin.
6 for Hebney.
Well, I got a 20.
I got a natural 20 plus 3.
Nice. So most of you, 3 of you, see for sure what looks to be kind of a stone archway kind of off in the trees. And the thing that calls your attention to it is strangely enough, it's almost like there's dim light coming from it. Almost. Or there's dim lighting through it. And it's probably, 20 yards off to your rightish, kind of northeastish, through the trees. You're in one of those maybe not quite as thickly forested parts. You've got a little peek at some blue sky up there. You've reoriented yourself, Baldwin. You can tell the sun is up and to your right, which is where it should be for what your reckoning of the time of day is. We're almost to, probably almost to noontime.
So it's an archway?
Yeah.
Perhaps one of us should go investigate that instead of the whole group.
Oh, I see it now. Ha! There it is. I'll go investigate with you, Erdith.
Why don't you let me go have a look?
I like that plan, yes. As I think back to when Hebney helped me go hunting for game that one day, stomping on every broken branch, on every twig, smoking a cigar.
Yep. Maybe you guys stay here, and I'll go check it out. And maybe this is our opportunity.
You want me to come along, Grog?
No.
All right.
No, I want you to stay here unless you hear me say the word. Which you don't have to say right now. So Blarg is going to sneak up to get a closer look at this archway.
Okay. Are you gonna stealth?
Yep.
Okay, hit me.
Look at him go. What a
So-
professional.
I got an 11.
Stomp, crack.
If a +2 helps me, I will use one
Yeah,
of
you're
those.
certainly able to spend that because a +2 on an ability roll is always better.
I'll take that.
But yeah, you do kind of snap on a couple of maybe your trousers catch on a dry piece of wood that's sticking out, and you kind of pull it against a rock and it snaps with a crack, and you kind of stop. But yeah, you make your way over there, picking your way again. There's snow on the ground, and that's the thing when you're in the woods and there's been a heavy snowfall. Is the silence is almost oppressive because it's like a muffled silence, like a muted silence, which is more silency than silence. It's a silencier silence. And then so you guys swear you just heard like a muzzleloader go off as his snaps that branch, snap.
Meredith
He's
just
good at what he
wince.
does.
Meredith will wince at every twig snap.
Yeah. So Blarg, you work your way over here, and you see before you a large, again, a stone archway that looks, it's made of stone, and there are runes markings that are really worn. This whole thing is, there's moss. There are vines around it. There looks to be some kind of runery. The whole thing looks. Give me nature.
In nature, I'm sure that'll be fine. Nature. Blarg is kind of an indoor goblin. Oh, I got a 21.
That'll be fine.
Yeah, if you had to guess what this is, you'd guess it's probably an elven site, if you will. The light source, it appears to be the archway, is marking, again, the forest is dense, thickets on either side, and it looks like there's an old, gnarled, brown, thicket hedgerow sort of extending from this archway, and it looks like it opens into a bit of a clearing, and I use that term loosely. It's not a meadow. It's just less trees. And looks like maybe there's been fire through here. You see some trees that looked like they've been charred. They're down to like stumps. But it's not all of it recently. Like if there was fire, it was probably a long time ago. There are both evergreens and more deciduous trees like oaks, aspens, beeches. Some are dead. Some are, some look like they maybe have been burnt at one time. And there's kind of this thick hedgerow, and it kind of goes around this area. There's almost, there's some, you can see tufts of grass up above some of the snow, but again, there's a lot of snow in here, brambles, thickets, and a thicket hedgerow is solid all the way around. And so it's like there's this entry into this space in here. There's fewer trees, like maybe once it was a clearing, but nature has reclaimed it. Maybe that's the way to describe it.
I'm going to look around this clearing and see if I'm going to be ducked down, sort of trying to be hidden, but I'm going to look around this clearing and see if I can see anything, if there's any creatures or. Are
you going to look with your eyes or move in there and walk around?
I'm going to look with my eyes.
Okay. So you look with your eyes, and again, it's a lot of overgrowth, a lot of trees. But again, it's thinned out. It's not nearly as dense. And the growth of trees doesn't look to be as old and large as the trees you've been coming through. So it looks, based on that nature roll, it looks like it's an old clearing of some sort that's marked with this stone arch. A lot of vines. A lot of the trees that are inside look gnarled. Some of them look deformed. A lot of dark vines. Yeah, you don't like the woods you've been in is like not displeasant mountain woods. It's kind of like, gosh, this is nice out here. This has a little bit darker, like, man, this is a little creepy.
So I don't see any creatures.
You do not.
Can I make out the runes if I speak Elvish?
Yeah, go ahead and give that a try. How will you go about trying to see the runes clearly? Because you got moss and dirt and age and cracked and weather blown. This archway looks ancient.
From where vines. From where I'm at, can I make out any of the runes?
You could tell there's some, there's like markings on the stone, but it's really hard to. You're gonna have to go right up and touch it. Touch the archway.
Fine. It'll be fine.
The light source, by the way, is only because you could see, because of the clearing and the lack of canopy, that the sun is kind of shining down much more readily than the rest of the forest. And so as you come up to that archway, that's why you get this sense of this glowing light source beyond the archway.
Can I tell from where I'm at, does the archway lead into something, or is it literally just an archway that I could go under?
Well, it looks to be the entrance point to get into this clearing, because again, there's this thicket of brambly, gnarled, thicket all the way around it. I'm picturing you kind of coming up maybe within 5 feet of the archway and looking in, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Or maybe you're kind of to the side and you lean out from behind a tree and you're looking, and you can see that the light level is brighter on the other side of the archway, but it's not like glowing, oh, kind of a thing.
I'm gonna sneak up to the archway to get a closer look at it.
You gonna touch it? You should touch it.
I'm gonna sneak up to it first. I may well touch it.
Yeah, so you get up to it, and as you see, you can smell the moss, you can smell the age. You definitely don't get a welcoming feeling from this space. And again, the runes are faint. They're kind of, you could tell that there's some sort of language. It's hard to see complete sets of like words, if you will, script. If you want a bit of mental imagery, if you remember the entryway to Khazad-dûm, Moria, from the pool where the Watcher is, and there's some ancient artwork that shows some scripting over the top. Remember Melon, and it's Elvish for friend. Remember Gandalf translates it "speak friend" and enter. And somebody finally says the Elvish word for friend, and the doors open. Yeah, it's kind of along those lines, right? That type of scripting. It's very fluid and almost like filigree, sort of what elves would, but you can't make it out what it says.
So now that I'm closer to the gateway, when I look in, can I see creatures? Anything?
Roll perception again.
Roll perception.
Touch it.
I got a 16.
Touch it.
Oh, just wait.
Yeah, all you see are these gnarled trees, some of which look to have been burned. Some of them look greener and less gnarled and dark, but the whole vibe in here is definitely, you're kind of like, I don't know. Licking the arch would be the best thing to do.
It's cold. My tongue would get stuck to it. I think I'm gonna sneak back to the rest of them.
Touch it.
God, I want to so bad, but I know it's wrong. I'm gonna sneak back to the rest of them.
Okay.
And when I get back, I'm gonna say, so it's a pretty spooky arch.
Did you touch it?
No, and it looks
You
like
lick it. You didn't lick it, did you?
it looks like elves made it. I wonder if it's that Raven King dude. Maybe
Queen.
Maybe it's the archway home.
What did it say?
Probably.
I don't know. It was a bunch of old faded runes.
Wait a minute. You're supposed to be a linguist. And you don't know what it says?
Well, I'm not a runist.
Well, you've ruined my day and now I'm grumpy.
Well, you're always grumpy until next time.
That's awesome.
Would
So-
would one of the dwarves know through stone cutting the ability to understand what the runes are, or because these are elvish and not dwarvish, not be able to do
Yeah, the
that?
best thing that Grog could come up with is the fact that these are, hey, it's a casualty, thanks for the follow. The fact that it's elvish script, the words definitely seem elvish, but you don't know what any of them mean. It's like a form of elvish, probably pretty freaking ancient, given that's what you're able to deduce, given the age, the appearance.
Maybe it's your skinny gray elf language.
Emaciated,
Possible.
malnourished, elvish.
I can certainly go take a look.
I'll come with you.
Awesome. And we will stealthily.
Okay.
Go
Go ahead and
take a
give me
look.
stealth rolls, guys.
23
9.
and
It's beautiful out here, isn't it?
without a sound, and maybe all the way behind me.
Yeah, you guys make a bit of racket, even though there's
Fantastic.
the cover of snow. Maybe some of your gear is clanking against something, or somebody bangs a sword scabbard against a rock, hanging from your belt, whatever. But yeah, you manage to clatter your way up to the arch, and you've all gotten the description. So you stand before this arch. And all of you just get the sense like, gosh, it's not as, because even as dense as and dark as the forest has gotten, it doesn't seem bothersome, other than your nerves are on edge because there's probably orcs and goodness knows what, and whatever, it's a dangerous place. But this has the forest itself, the trees, the arch, the gnarliness, the thicket that surrounds it, the fact that it's a clearing, it all just feels a little foreboding.
Beautiful.
It just looks kind of weather worn, would you say? The runes?
100,000% weather worn.
Can you make out anything, Erdith?
Give me intelligence.
Intelligence? Straight up intelligence?
Yeah.
That's not that. Okay, it says that's a 7. I disagree with what I'm looking at, but 7.
Okay. Yeah, you can't just decide the dice say different things.
Man, just the way it.
You have to just go with what the dice says. Yeah.
Well, what the dice showed versus what D&D Beyond says I rolled, I think, are two different things. But anyway.
Interesting. Okay, well, that's fair. Good. All right. So
Yeah.
7. Yeah, you're
15 to me.
These words are Elvish-ish,
Hmm.
but it's not Elvish. It's not modern language.
Hmm.
You see some roots or some suffixes or some tenses, maybe that make sense to you, but
The fact I speak, I know will common help.
no.
Okay.
What other languages we got here, boys?
Orc?
Is anybody touching the arch?
Not yet.
This is quite beautiful. Look at this. And
He just
Swat his hand
rubs
away.
his hand across the.
This is quite nice.
I'll try to swat his hand away before he does it.
What other languages we got?
Sylvan?
Giant.
Giant, Sylvan.
Gnomish, halfling, and
I've
dwarf
got,
halfling.
Dwarvish, Orc, Thieves' Cant, of course, and Undercommon.
Okay. Yeah, no.
Minotaur.
It feels like it's definitely has Elvish connections.
Minotaur will come in handy.
Minotaur. No.
Yeah. Not sure why I took
And
that.
Hebney, you touch the arch.
Yeah, he just runs his hand over the
Yeah.
the stonework.
It's old ancient worked stone.
Beautiful.
Got vines, moss, dirt, that musty smell. That's it. Yeah. And this right here is going to be a great place to stop as you all stand and try to determine what's happening. It's a little bit lighter inside the cordoned off area, that thicket that separates this. But again, it's very clearly coming from the lack of canopy and the amount of sunlight that's able to dapple and filter in. And it's there we're going to call our session to an end. And
Hell yeah.
And so the sadness begins. We must wait
2 weeks?
Yeah, because we play week
man.
2, week 4. Next week is week 1. So let's go around the horn. Why don't you guys give us your outros? We'll start this time the opposite direction. We'll go with Hebney Cragbeam first. Tell us a little bit about whatever you want to say.
Hey everybody, I'm Hebney Cragbeam, and oftentimes I play DM Dave, over on Guild Superior Twitch channel, where I run games and produce games and play games with my friends. And please come over and check us out. We do have a Greyhawk, long-term Greyhawk campaign that we've been running on Wednesday nights. Our party has just escaped a terrible, terrible place called Narisbin in the Ulman Isles and is headed towards a much more terrible place in the Amadio jungle. So come by and cheer them on. Just a blast to play Hebney with this group. And tonight was fantastic. Tonight was fantastic. The descriptions of the cinnamon rolls, absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much for that.
Okay, let's go down to Daryl Nimblebottom, please.
My name's Bob, Doc Shoulder. Again, I've been playing Daryl Nimblebottom here, and just happy to be on the team here. And besides this group, on Friday nights we'll play with Phantom on his channel on Discord for Friday Night Crusades with Castles and Crusades. So great session, guys.
Nice. Glad you had fun. All right, Irideth.
Hello again, friends. I'm Carl. I'm Carnage on the Discord, both with a K. If you want to see me more of me playing D&D, well, you're out of luck because I only play with this group every second, fourth, and fifth Sundays of the month. So this was, to echo everyone else, yes, this was a good session and a good group, and this has been a lot of fun.
Good. And I've been posting some links in chat there. You see Dave's Guild Superior was in there and some other stuff I'll explain in a minute. Blargtonia.
So, hey, everybody, I'm Chris, WikiVA on Discord and Twitch. I'm playing Blarg/Grog/Jonathan Cumberbunch. And this is also the only place I play. So I've been playing here for a while and love playing in the game because it's a great group. And it was a fun adventure today, especially watching Hebney do his tinkery stuff. That was the best part.
That was cool. Okay. Last but certainly not least, our party distiller, Baldwin O'Farrell.
Hey, I'm Tim. This is the only place you can see me play in person right now. I do play in other places, but those are private servers, so you're just out of luck as far as that goes.
Too bad, so sad.
Although occasionally I'll do a one-shot somewhere, but I'm known as Enoch Pratt on all the Discords, or at least the ones I frequent. Look me up. Great game, guys.
All right, that leaves the DM, Wily Hobbit. My name is Scott when I'm being an adult. But hey, here and now, I'm Wily Hobbit. Thank you for hanging out. I put a link out for the Guild Superior stuff. You see Enoch Pratt's link for Instagram. Give those a look. That Wednesday night game on Guild Superior is a blast. All their stuff is a blast, man. They do some cool Vikings things. They've been running over children with bicycles recently, or something like that. I don't know, some kind of thing. Did a really cool fundraiser for hungry people. Great channel. Also, I'm part of a podcast. In fact, I think it's the only podcast that features Greyhawk content exclusively. Mateus, my friend Matt, and I co-host Greycast. You can catch that on Spotify, Anchor.fm, Google, Apple. Got a link in there. And then our game schedule. This one will be back in 2 weeks. We play 2nd, 4th, and 5th Sunday of the month. And then the Monday game goes every other Monday. We just played this week, so this tomorrow will be off. So that one will fire off a week from tomorrow. I did drop the Discord chat link. Hang around for a quick raid. Here's the Discord if you want to get in there. It's a pretty chill, nice, safe community to hang out and talk nerd things. But we sure appreciate you hanging around as our party makes their way ever more closely to the Stone Tooth. And now they've found an interesting thing. Curiosity killed the party, right? Kind of deal. A cool stone archway in the forest. So with that, we're going to go check out our friend John over at Blue Box. He's another Greyhawk streamer. I think the game they're playing today might be in the Forgotten Realms or something, whatever, but they do run a really cool Tuesday night Greyhawk, and then he does a Legends and Lore kind of a deal on Wednesday nights, also Greyhawk related. So I'm going to click the raid button. Come back to us next time. Thanks for hanging out. Dave, thanks for all the subs. You as well. Vivacia, and I think Dave also gave out a bunch of advantages with Vivacia, so thank you all for that, and we'll see you all on the next D&D thingy that we do. Yeah, we're gonna raid here like in seconds. Here we come. We're raiding.